Because of the PhD weight loss program. Look, I used to be one of these people that when I was younger, I would say, I don't want to be older. I want to live my life and eat what I want to eat and drink what I want to drink. But now that I'm hitting 40, I'm thinking, I really want to get the most out of my later years. In the 30-plus weeks that I've been on the PhD weight loss program, I've lost nearly 80 pounds.
You are a little older than me, so I wasn't necessarily thinking about later years. I was thinking about right now. I wanted to be able to sleep. I wanted to be able to be active. I was very active in my teens and in my 20s. And in my 30s, I had gotten lazy, eating fast food, and doing all the things that turn you into a sedentary couch potato, which I had become. Now, I'm under the weight that I weighed in high school, and it's all thanks to the program and the plan of PhD weight loss.
And Dr. Ashley Lucas has the plan for you to turn your life around. PhD Weight Loss is the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Kevin Winter, the ball is now in the NFL's court. This morning, former federal judge Sue L. Robinson, the independent disciplinary officer for the league and the Players Association, handed down a 6-game suspension to Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The league had recommended a full year. Watson and his camp didn't think a suspension was warranted at all, saying they did nothing wrong, even though they settled 23 of 24 lawsuits. ESPN, Kimberly A. Martin on the Adam Schefter podcast.
No one's happy with this right now, it seems like. That's what's so fascinating about it. There's a lot of emotions running through, not just Deshaun's camp, but within the Browns building, fans, male, female, doesn't matter. There's just a lot to take in and a lot to process.
The league said they would have 3 days to review whether they're going to appeal. The Players Union and Watson have said they're not going to appeal. If the suspension holds, Watson would not return until week number 7. Jacoby Brissett would start in his place. Breaking news from Major League Baseball this afternoon. Jeff Passan reporting that the Milwaukee Brewers have traded their closer, Josh Hader, to the San Diego Padres. In exchange, San Diego gives up 4 players, including their closer to Milwaukee.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit.
Let's go!
Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome into another week in the Sportsocracy, coming to you from the Ingles Studio on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. And, of course, the Sportsocracy heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. Yes, we are live and in full effect and ready to just dive right into the it's over, okay? Can we just get past this? That's all that we've been wanting for the last, 17 months?
I feel like this started in 1997. And we've been doing it ever since.
It's been such a long, drawn-out process, and now we have the official word that, well, it's not officially official. There's still some things to happen. But Deshaun Watson, 6-game suspension handed down by Sue L. Robinson, former U.S. District Court judge. And I think the thing that I'm ticked off more about all of this is the shade that's being thrown her way. We'll get into that coming up throughout the process of the program here. But
I'm going to go off about some people's reactions to this.
This is just insanity to me. And look, I know that first off, it's a touchy subject. We all know there is no pun in saying that. I'm not trying to be flippant. I'm just saying we've all had our positions on this from the get-go. Jeremy started his position on this.
I told you it's not going to be a year.
Of no suspension at all. And then as the information came out, he wised up and said, no, there has to be a suspension.
Yeah, and I told you flat out it won't be a year.
And it was
no way.
And the fact that it was not a year, some people are upset about that and all the ins and outs. But what we know now is that Deshaun Watson will at least miss the first 6 games of the 2022 NFL season.
And
yes,
that's it.
Yes, we have all of the people on one side saying that it should have been way more. We have people on the other side saying maybe he shouldn't have had anything. I mean, the Deshaun Watson camp is really the only one that was ever saying he shouldn't have any suspension.
He's already served a year. He's already served a year.
And see, that's, to me, that's kind of where I fall in as well.
It wasn't an official suspension. Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It didn't have the title. It didn't have the name. He already served a year.
But he still got paid. Well, that is Roger Goodell's screw up.
Well, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I look at the way this whole process went, and this is all people like me ever asked for. I do not want Roger Goodell doing these things by himself. So, Sue L. Robinson, all the way in.
Yep.
You know what she is? A judge.
Mm-hmm.
Former prosecutor.
Mm-hmm.
I think she understands the legal process better than you do.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of that. Well, she just doesn't really seem to. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? There's literally no person short of a Supreme Court justice who could possibly have known the law any better than this woman could.
Right.
I promise you, you little person with 7 numbers in your Twitter handle, you don't know it better than she does. I guarantee it.
But her decision is all based on the legalities of what the agreement was between the NFLPA and the NFL. They came together after the Ray Rice scenario and said, this is how we need to handle these situations from now on. We need to have a process where we have a third-party arbiter come in and take the hands out of Roger Goodell being the judge, jury, and executioner.
If I heard that one more time today.
Exactly.
And that's right. That's not how this is supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
This is, for me, I look at this and go, well, what more did you want?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, and I heard Ryan Clark say this morning on ESPN, there is nothing that you can use against him in a court of law.
Mm-hmm.
In this country, you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
I understand that Twitter loses that and social media loses that, since you're just as soon as this comes out, you're automatically guilty. They had absolutely nothing criminal.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying they couldn't have, saying they didn't.
They didn't, because it all comes down in this country to what you can prove.
Correct.
And people don't understand, apparently, what the word accusation means.
No, because in the social media age, as soon as you're accused of something, you're guilty of it.
But he raped 30 women. No, he was accused of sexual misconduct with 30 women. He was never accused of raping anyone.
According to the jurisdictions that this happened in, there was nothing actionable from a criminal prosecution standpoint.
Indeed. And to those on the other side of this, say, oh, he was acquitted by 2 grand juries. That's not how grand juries work.
No, grand juries don't acquit you of anything.
Do not acquit anyone of anything.
No, they determine whether it can be prosecuted or not.
Right. Was there something there? Maybe. They did not have the proof to prove it in criminal court, so therefore you can't base his violation of the conduct policy of the NFL on felonious charges, which, remember, we walked through that. I walked you through the process and what it was, and if he's charged with a felony, he has to start at least a 6-game suspension and all of that. None of that ever came to fruition because there was not enough evidence to take him to court.
And I'm going to say this and then move past this because I've heard this comparison about 100 times today.
Okay.
Calvin Ridley got a whole year for gambling $10,000 on his own team. And Deshaun Watson got 6 for the accusation of what he was accused of. Mm-hmm. Let me explain to you how the criminal justice system works. If you get convicted of speeding, doing over 25 miles an hour over the speed limit, you will face more of a penalty than you will for being acquitted of murder.
Yes.
Because you were guilty of one, you were never found guilty of the other. I do not know why that's so hard for people to understand.
Well, because what Calvin Ridley did was not illegal. And you're right.
It was to the NFL.
That's where I was going. It's not illegal in the legal system, but it is against every rule that the NFL set forth when they decided to get into this whole gambling thing. We all know. I mean, it's like fans of the NFL have never been associated with baseball at all.
Most of them haven't.
What have
as
we
evidenced by the 4 people that go to the games.
What have we learned throughout the entire process of not only Major League Baseball, hell, take the history of the NFL, going back to the Paul Hornung thing. When you gamble on your sport, it is the unforgivable sin. And it may not shake, it may not jive out in your mind that these two things are, one's a more
one's a much worse
crime.
accusation than the other is.
Right. It's all about what the NFL can control.
It's also we have a criminal justice system for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
That ran its process. Nothing happened. So, and I said long ago, there's going to be a solution. I fully believe this was agreed to before it was ever put out. I've seen several people in the YouTube comments saying the NFL is going to appeal. Let me make this as clear as I can. I can't tell you they're not going to. I can tell you my experience with the NFL says no, they're not.
No.
My experience with the NFL says Roger Goodell knew this was going to come out well before any of us did.
All right, so
and has mentally made peace with it of I did not adjudicate this. It is not in my hands. We can appeal. If we appeal, there's no win in this for me because then it falls back into my hands.
Yes.
Or we can move past this.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the number one thing the NFL should want to do at this
Absolutely.
moment. Move on. Just don't come back at this because here's the thing. You got a 3-day window. The NFL has a 3-day window to appeal this. If they wait the entire 3 days, do you know what happens on the 3rd day if they decide what that day falls on? The opening of the preseason.
Yeah,
do you think that the NFL wants to take the shine off of all of this get back together Saturday that we had on? I mean, NFL Network covered it for 24 hours, it felt like.
Poor Kyle Hamilton.
Of everybody. What?
T's and P's for Kyle Hamilton.
What'd he do?
He got cooked on NFL Network by a guy that may very well be bagging groceries in 3 weeks. I've already messaged him personally on Twitter to go, it changed nothing for me.
Yeah, no,
I understand you've been just raked across hot coal because he did get just toasted.
And look, that's fine. It's practice. We're talking about practice. But you think they want to take the shine off of everything that has happened with the training camps opening back up and everybody gathering on Saturday with the full coverage from every training camp. And then we're going into the Hall of Fame game on Thursday, and they're going to put a big poo in the punch bowl of we're appealing the Deshaun Watson scenario. No.
I maintain if this was going to be appealed, it would have already happened today.
Mm-hmm.
The fact this news came out on Monday, I fully believe that was a handshake agreement behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
Fully believe it. I believe every entity here. Deshaun Watson's already said he's not appealing. The NFLPA has already said they're not appealing. That leaves it on the league and Roger Goodell. If you leave this alone, you take what a federal judge put as the penalty on this, you can move past it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm hoping will happen can happen. And that is that as soon as this show is over today, 6 o'clock Eastern time, we will not say Deshaun Watson's name again until he is allowed to play regular season football games. Which is that makes me as happy as anything could possibly make me.
Not going to happen that way. I know you want it to happen that way, but it's not going to happen that way, especially if week 1 the Cleveland Browns come out and lose without Deshaun Watson to the Carolina Panthers. We're going to have to talk about it.
Not going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either because everybody's wondered what are the football implications of Deshaun Watson being gone. The Browns season may be tanked completely by the time he comes back in week 7.
It's not.
No, it won't.
It's not. And we've been over this.
Mm-hmm.
The first 4 games, I don't care who your quarterback is. You were probably coming out of this at 3-1.
Yep.
Now your goal is come out of this 3-3. If you do, you're still very much alive in the playoff hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that the decision has been yielded. I believe in the due process. You know more about this than I do. This was what the legislators and people have come to. This was their decision. I can agree with this. I can move past it and be done. Mm-hmm. Do I think weirder things happened? I do. Never did it go through the criminal justice system. Innocent until proven guilty. Yep. So if this is what you've agreed to and this can get us past it, there you go.
The comparisons of the Deshaun Watson suspension to all of the other suspensions, though, have just been insane to me. Insane. We'll talk more about it coming up next, right here on ESPN Asheville.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep the facility running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, and Maria in Miami, Jules in Minneapolis, and Stan in Central Indiana, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with experienced branch staff at over 250 locations so you get the product you're looking for. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion. Trust me, I know about joint pain.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about chronic joint pain and exciting new regenerative treatments from QC Kinetics.
I know what it's like to fight through pain, but now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in advanced, all-natural regenerative medicine that can give you lasting relief with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Do you suffer with constant pain from arthritis or injury? Pain in your knees, hips, shoulders, or lower back? Don't assume steroids, pain meds, and surgery are your only options. Regenerative, restorative, natural solutions are now available.
Don't let your joint pain keep you from doing the things you love.
Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation and learn how regenerative medicine can repair and restore damaged joint tissue.
Make the call to QC Kinetics. Tell them Emmitt Smith sent you.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumping a bag of hammers.
I know there are people listening to us right now talk about this Deshaun Watson thing, and it appears that y'all don't have a problem with the 6-game suspension, because we don't. We don't have a problem with the 6-game suspension.
I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. That's the reason that we have judges and lawyers.
We have smarter people put in charge of these scenarios, and so they went and they found the arbiter. Actually, the NFLPA and the NFL both agreed that Sue L. Robinson would be this person a long time ago. And so they take the case to her, and they say, what do you think? and she's provided with all of the standards and the conduct policy and everything, and she wrote in her conclusion that, look, you may look at this and go, what he's accused of doing is everything else pales in comparison to what he is accused of doing.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is
accused,
exactly. Nothing has been found that he definitely did this or definitely did that. And she said she was faced with the decision of, should I look at all of these other suspensions that have happened and compare it to what happened with him? No. Because, as I said, she wrote in the conclusion that she is bound by standards of fairness and consistency of treatment of players among those similarly situated. But the NFL told her there is no other situation that is similar to this. So when you come out with, Deshaun Watson gets 6 games for this, and so got 6 games for that. Like,
it's disingenuous.
DeAndre Hopkins has been the name that I've heard most. Mm-hmm. DeAndre Hopkins had a trace of PEDs in his system, and he got 6 games. And now Deshaun Watson, for this, he gets 6 games. They're not similar situations. You can't put them into
because
the same
there is
category.
an arbitrated way that PED suspensions happen.
Mm-hmm.
This was agreed to in collective bargaining.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, am I saying that one should be more? No, I'm not saying any of that. You know why? Because it's not my job.
It's not the same
My
scenario.
job is not to say this is what should have happened.
2 other 6-game suspensions that could be loosely tied to what Deshaun Watson was accused of. Ben Roethlisberger, Ezekiel Elliott. Big difference between those 2 cases and Deshaun's is that there was violence in those other 2 cases. This was a non-violent crime.
Allegedly. Because that works both ways.
Sure.
We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's one civil suit left? He settled 3 of the last 4.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's 1 civil suit left.
Mm-hmm.
But if you remember, I said this a long time ago. When the NDA started happening and the settlement started happening, you don't have any evidence. Yeah. Because nobody can say anything.
Yeah.
All right, let's say we even got this in front of a judge. You can't say anything. That's how NDAs work.
Right.
So, I mean, this was all it was ever going to be. I heard some range of 4 to 8 for the better part of the last 2 months.
Yep.
I'm not surprised in the least.
And frankly, also, the NFL is lucky that Roger Goodell didn't step in and do anything last year. When Deshaun Watson was sitting on the sidelines for the Houston Texans, still collecting his money but not being able to play, she wrote in her conclusion that if the NFL had stepped in and done that, he wouldn't have got anything. That's what I gathered from it, was that he was on the sidelines last year, and because Roger Goodell decided not to put him on administrative leave, that would have been considered time served, as Jeremy was trying to make the argument originally in this case.
Because that's going to be their argument.
Absolutely. And she said in the conclusion, if that had happened, he would have gotten credit for time served, so he wouldn't even had a suspension from her at all.
I'm going to ask a question, and this may not be popular with some people, but I can't wrap my head around it. Why do you care about there not being a fine?
Because
I've heard this all day long.
It all comes back to money. You look at a guy who's getting $45 million
Who
this
cares how much money he's making?
People
he either committed a crime or he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
If you think he committed a crime, then you should take this up with the judge that failed to pursue charges twice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we did this 2 times, 2 grand juries.
Yep.
Both of them said nothing there.
Yep.
All right, so if that's your problem, that you think he should have been prosecuted, there's who you should be mad at. Now, if you're just mad because he's wealthy, I don't really know what to do for you there. I keep hearing this, well, he didn't even get fined. Where do you think that money would go? All right, let's say the NFL did fine him. What do you think they're going to do?
They would give it to, like, domestic groups or something.
And that would be fine, but they don't have to.
No.
People treat this like the money would be dispersed across the potential victims in this case. That's what the settlements were for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they already did that.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime things like this come up, I'm dumbfounded by how out of tune some people are with the judicial system. This is how this works.
Mm-hmm. But also, this is in the conduct policy.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in the conduct policy that says if you're accused of such or you get suspended for such, then there's also a fine attached to your suspension. There's no mention of fines in that conduct policy, only suspensions. So the arbiter in this case, I want to keep saying this, the former U.S. District Court judge who decided this case, there's no precedence for her to issue a fine for him because it's not in the conduct policy. It all has to come back to, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do based on the information that I've been given of the rules and the punishments that are already agreed to between these two entities, the PA and the league. I have to stick to that. And there's nothing in there about fines.
And that's what the law does. That's the reason you bring in a judge. I want to take a line out of our YouTube comments, and then I want to be done with this part of this forever.
Right.
I am not talking about this again. Rob Johnson, our YouTube comment, said he's a professional player. He could get massages from the team, but he's going out there getting hundreds of massages a year by different women. That's red flags.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough proof, but we all know he's guilty. All right, I want to take how you said that. And I'm not going to name names, but you can infer who I'm talking about.
Okay.
How many times in life have we seen people that we knew were guilty of something and they were found not guilty? And that's your own personal prejudice, your own personal bias of, well, they were guilty. Well, according to the state, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And there's absolutely nothing you can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. Once they are found not guilty or charges are not pursued, you can think that until the end of time. You can't do anything about it. And that's the disconnect here. So I'm done talking about this. I committed to the first segment of this show. We will talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're going to talk about the actual on the field.
Yes.
Because there's been a narrative around this for a long time that never made a whole lot of sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now that the suspension's been handed down, it makes even less sense to me.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, we're tracking a pretty good area of rainfall, thunderstorms in from the west coming across the mountains, and scattered thunderstorms early tonight. Some with heavy downpours. 66 degrees, our low tonight. Then less storm coverage for us Tuesday and Wednesday. High temps in the mid and upper 80s. Thunderstorms return to the forecast late week, Thursday, Friday, and for the weekend, first weekend of August. Scattered storms likely, temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Try Taco Bell's new cheesy double beef burritos now. A melty 3-cheese blend with nacho cheese sauce and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Prices vary, tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy melt burrito.
In some cases, the symptoms of COVID-19 may last long after overcoming the initial infection. Many adults are struggling with cases of this so-called long COVID. We asked Dr. Sean O'Leary, a pediatric infectious disease specialist and professor at the University of Colorado, if children can also suffer from long COVID.
Yeah, for sure. Long COVID is a real problem. It absolutely does happen in children. We don't have a great understanding of how often it happens, and I would say that the concept of long COVID in younger children is even less well understood. You know, you can imagine for children who are, just learning to talk and not very verbal, it may be hard to describe some of the feelings that they might be having related to long COVID. So it's a difficult problem and one that we are working on addressing for sure. There have been studies showing that vaccination is protective against long COVID as well. So I think that's one more reason to also get vaccinated.
To find COVID-19 vaccines and boosters near you, check out vaccines.gov.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have two new on-site managers that work with Kelley Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road, Nashville, or call them at 828-365-1663.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
All right, this is the time on the program where I get to just, inject some baseball into the conversation.
My story's actually about baseball, too.
Let's get just a bit outside here. Mine is obviously the Major League Baseball trade deadline is coming up this week. There are deals being made all over the place. We've already seen some deals being made. The Mariners getting Luis Castillo from the Reds. He was the number one starting pitcher out there available at the trade deadline, so the Mariners make that big move. We just saw today the Padres ended up with Josh Hader, who is the league leader in saves, to boost their bullpen. But those aren't the things that I want to focus on in this one. The story came out that there were 3 teams that made quote-unquote serious inquiries with the Los Angeles Angels about Shohei Ohtani. Those 3 teams were the New York Yankees, the San Diego Padres, and the Chicago White Sox? Like, one of these things is not like the other. One of these things just doesn't belong. I understand the Yankees and the Padres. Like, these are teams that are making pushes for World Series. If they get Shohei Ohtani, it's done.
All right, I have to ask you a question.
Yeah.
I can't even consider myself a lay baseball fan. How do the San Diego Padres all of a sudden have so much money? This was like the cheapest team in all of baseball. Do they have Walter White working for them on the side?
Apparently.
They just print money now. Where did it all come from?
Mm-hmm. All of these teams, they have they have an owner that has to make a decision. Do I want to spend this money? Do I not want to spend this money? Now, some of them can't, like the Oakland A's. Their ownership is never going to spend big money.
Yeah, Shohei Ohtani's whole value is more than the Oakland A's are actually worth.
Right.
They'd have to give up the stadium.
All of it.
You know what? Anaheim, you can hold concerts at Oakland Coliseum.
Kansas City Royals, same thing. They're never going to spend that kind of money. Chicago White Sox, it's kind of impressive to me that they were able to put up a, quote, serious offer. Now, we don't know what was in these offers. But think about it. The Yankees get Shohei Ohtani, the best, all-around baseball player, two-way player since Babe Ruth. It's over. Nobody else has a chance to win the World Series. It's going to be the Yankees. Moving on, done, story's over. San Diego Padres, maybe not this year, but next year when everybody's back and healthy and you got Fernando Tatis, Shohei Ohtani, and Manny Machado out there mashing, should be no question. I mean, they'll still have a tight race with the Los Angeles Dodgers throughout the season in their division, but they're pretty much guaranteed they're going to win a World Series at some point with that group of guys. Chicago White Sox, what possibly could they have offered? Aside from the winning Powerball ticket. Apparently the guy
it's
who
Mega
won
Millions. And I didn't win it. I'm still salty.
The guy in Illinois who had the Powerball ticket, maybe he was willing to trade that to Artie Moreno for the Los Angeles Angels to get Shohei Ohtani.
If I'd won the Mega Millions, I wouldn't tell you. There'd be signs.
I don't know. To me, it's surprising that the Chicago White Sox were one of the teams to make the big offer. I'm not shocked that they didn't do a deal with any of these teams at all, because Artie Moreno is the one guy in sports that you're looking at going, You've spent $75 billion, apparently, in the last 10 years on this baseball club, and you haven't won. And you're definitely not going to give up the most generational of generational players. Now that he's not tapping out, and he's going to give him a boatload of money. He's going to give him $500 million next year when he hits.
And they'll still be terrible.
Of course they will.
I said my story was about baseball. If you've been watching the show for any period of time, listening to the show, any of the things, you know that if I'm telling a baseball story, it's either very off the wall or it shines baseball in a less than ideal light. And this one's no different. Yankees pitcher Garrett Cole, he makes a boatload of money. $36 million a year.
Yes.
But last week, I've been resisting there to tell this story for a week. Tank has not had one day that I haven't wanted to talk about this for a week.
And I keep telling him, just tell the story. Get it over with.
Last Saturday, they play the Baltimore Orioles. Mm-hmm. Garrett Cole's the pitcher. A camera in the stadium caught him having a snack between innings. And it was a banana.
Just need a little potassium.
And you know what? As you do. Apparently, well, first of all, he ate the banana with great speed.
Gusto,
ferocity, all of the things.
Yes.
And that got the attention of some nefarious things. Some of you people are weird.
Mm-hmm.
An adult entertainment platform has offered him almost $70,000 per video to just eat fruits on camera. I have no less than 11 questions, but the prevailing one is, if you're willing to offer that much money, that means you think you're going to make it back.
Absolutely.
What is wrong with people? That is weird. Who sits around and goes, you know what? You know what I want to see? I want to see a picture for the Yankees. I want to see him eat an avocado. That'd be tremendous. Like, what is wrong with you people?
It's the porn generation. It's just there are so many
people
things.
Are weird.
We are now just so desensitized to it. We have to have the weirdest things.
Like people are just okay.
Give us
don't
joy.
Be weird. They wanted to make him their first official food expert.
$70,000.
$70,000. But I asked several questions in this show about monetary things.
But they didn't stop there. They also offered him more money if he could get one of his teammates in on it.
If he could get Anthony Rizzo in, they offered him more so he could eat Sicilian dishes. So apparently they had this idea that you'd get Garrett Cole just crushing avocados and Anthony Rizzo's over here eating a piece of pizza.
Just slurping spaghetti.
Or a bowl of spaghetti. And the fact that you think you'd make your money back makes my skin crawl. I go to the grocery store with these people.
People are weird. Don't be weird.
Weird.
Yeah. Now, the legalities of the Deshaun Watson scenario, we're not going to touch on that. I mean, if the league comes back and decides stupidly that they want to press this thing and push it, then we'll have that discussion later as well. But really what this all comes down to is the number one thing that I said when the deal was announced. When the Cleveland Browns made the trade, they sent all their top draft picks for the next 6 years or whatever it was to the Houston Texans to get Deshaun Watson. This was a football move about a football player to win football games.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it was. And it was a great move. And I stand by that to this day. Mm-hmm. I don't care what the off-the-field stuff is. That's all going to take care of itself.
That will be adjudicated by a judge. It has been. We're past it.
Right. At some point, I'm going to have what I still believe to be one of the top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL at the helm of my franchise that has not had one of those ever. Ever.
Since Bernie Kosar.
Was he ever a top 5, top 10 quarterback in the league?
No, but he was at least he was a quarterback. He wasn't Baker Mayfield.
But that's the point I was trying to make then, and I think it just bears itself out now. Because the Cleveland Browns are sitting back going, well, y'all wanted to throw all this shade about, you gave $230 million to a guy who may never play in this league again. Yeah, I'm going to have him back in 7 weeks.
The thought that he was not ever going to play again was always stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But let me ask you a question. The last full year he played, which was 2020, for a horrendously bad Houston Texans team,
mm-hmm.
how many quarterbacks in the NFL threw for more yards than he did?
3.
You want to hear the list again?
None of them.
None of them. He threw 4,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
QBR was right at 64. He was just outside of the top 10 on a horrid Houston Texans team.
Yep.
There's no doubting how good he is. Now, the issue with the off the field, we've already been over that. In terms of the money, this is what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Name me the last quarterback that was of this caliber that was moved at 26 years old. I'll wait. Because there's not one.
No.
Now, there were some that were moved that we found out later were that good. Steve Young comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of actually had the track record on the field, this is the only one. It's Deshaun Watson, end of message, repeat the line.
Mm-hmm. And I even said, who cares if it's a year? Who cares if he gets suspended for the entire year? We specifically went through and structured this contract so that wouldn't hurt us or him.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
now everybody's upset about that.
And the fact that now, if you're Cleveland, you look in your division and go, Baltimore has a 25-year-old franchise quarterback, in spite of what apparently some stupid people in this league have said over the last few days. He's an A-plus football player, but he's not a QB1. Stop talking. All right, it's okay to be wrong, but when you have been shown to be wrong, you should probably get over that.
Mm-hmm.
So you look in this division with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. Now we have a quarterback.
Yep.
That's what you had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Or you tap out on the next 10 years and go, we might as well not even play the games.
Now there are 3 teams in that division that have an advantage at quarterback for years to come over the one team that has dominated that division since its inception. We had to be a part of the group. How are we going to be competitive if we're not?
Mm-hmm. And so now you've done what you had to do. And my question is, if you are the Cleveland Browns, the way this suspension will roll, according to everything I've been told, year-long suspensions, usually you were just taken away from the team. We'll see you in a year.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it's less than a year, you're allowed to go through the preseason. You're allowed to play in preseason games.
Yes.
You're allowed to go through camp.
Yes.
So here's my question. With a quarterback that has not taken a meaningful snap in 2 years, what do you do in the preseason?
He's playing at least a half every game.
Yeah, I don't think he can go that far. I think total in the 3 preseason games, it should add up to about 1 full game.
Okay.
Average starter in the first preseason game plays a series. Deshaun, for me, is probably playing 2, maybe 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not putting him behind anything substandard. You will be behind the first-team offensive line every single time because Brady Quinn had a point this morning that I had not thought of. If he gets hurt, you can't touch him. So the rehab is all on himself.
Right.
Because I was where you were, of I want him to play every snap humanly possible.
Yes.
Then I heard that, and I went, I had not entertained that.
And there is something to that. I'm not going to throw him out there with the third-string line protecting him. It's a difficult balance because not only do I want Deshaun to get some of this rust off from not having played in – by the time he plays against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 7 of this NFL season, he will have been off of the field for 22 months. That's not good. So in the preseason, I want him to get as many snaps as possible, but I'm also in the scenario of for the first 6 weeks of the season, I'm going to have to make sure that Jacoby Brissett's ready to go. So how am I going to balance getting Jacoby ready, but also getting some of the rust off of Deshaun?
For me, I'm going to do basically double what everybody else does. Like I said, he's going to play 2, maybe 3 drives in the first preseason game. You'll have the dress rehearsal game.
Mm-hmm.
And as opposed to him just being completely excluded from the last preseason game, which is what most teams do, I would probably chuck him out there for 2 or 3 drives. Because there is a dynamic here of, I don't want to get you too acclimated to Deshaun Watson, knowing that you're going to have Jacoby Brissett for the first 6 games. These are different quarterbacks. And your game plan is going to be different. To me, the fulcrum for the Cleveland Browns, those first 4 games, we've been over this ad nauseum. I don't care who your quarterback is.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield, Tank Spencer, I don't care. You were probably going to go 3-1 in those games, 2-2 at worst.
Right.
And to me, that's if you lose to the Jets, which is
It's not coming.
I wouldn't.
It's not.
I would not be as sure of that.
Look, these aren't going to be, we just thumped you 43-7 games.
No, the problem with Jacoby Brissett is, and I've seen some people in the comments talking about Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Yes, that's going to be your goal, is to lean on that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you're not the only one that knows that. So teams that can one-on-one deal with Amari Cooper, can one-on-one deal with Donovan Peoples-Jones, can one-on-one deal with David Njoku, I think you're going to have more problems than you would have thought.
Mm-hmm. I just look at the start of the schedule and go, you're at Carolina week 1. I get Carolina Panther fans, you're so jazzed up about that. Like, oh, we can't wait to see Baker stick it to his former team. If Baker Mayfield's your starting quarterback in that game, you're going to lose much more than you would have if Sam Darnold was the starter. I've seen Baker Mayfield perform when he's all amped up, and since college, it hasn't really mattered all that much, right? I mean, since the posting of the flag in the middle of the field at Ohio State, like, I don't care. An amped-up Baker Mayfield doesn't give me warm fuzzies about how this game's going to go. No, he's going to come out erratic, and he's going to go throw 3 interceptions in the first quarter against a team that knows him in and out. Don't forget that, Panther fans. You get so excited that he's going up against the Browns, he's going to stick it to them. You don't think every other guy on the defense for the Cleveland Browns knows exactly what he's going to do every step of the way?
Oh, absolutely.
And then you add
the Baker thing is going to be, they're going to prove a point.
Right. And then you add
and they're going to rally around you. Mm-hmm. It's really funny to me that people look at Jacoby Brissett and don't realize how well liked this guy is around the league.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns are going to play like their hair is on fire because they know he is put in an absolute no-win situation.
Yep.
There's no shot of this really yielding anything for you. Because even if he goes 4-2, well, I mean, you beat the Panthers, the Jets, the Falcons, and the Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. Or the Patriots, or whatever
combination
of that actually pans out.
Yeah.
But now if you come out here and go 2-4, ugh. Now the season's over, and everybody's going to blame you for that.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of an opportunity for that to happen. I mean, could I see the Cleveland Browns coming into this first 6 weeks of the season and losing based on talent to the Los Angeles Chargers? Absolutely. Could they get out-coached by Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick? 100%. You tell me what path there is for the Atlanta Falcons, the New York Jets, and the Carolina Panthers to beat them.
It's the Jets game's in Cleveland, which is not going to help anything.
No.
That's the home opener.
So to me, I feel like it's at worst 3-3.
And if you go 3-3, what happens when he comes back? That is the pivot point of your season.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got to understand, you're going to have a week to get him ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the way the suspension will unfold, you'll go at the Panthers, Jets, Steelers, at the Falcons, Chargers, Patriots. That Steelers game is on short rest, and I'm telling you right now that matters more than anybody's going to give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have them at 3-3. You're going to have 1 week. So you'll play New England in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson will not be allowed around this team until Monday. Monday's usually a tape day, nothing on the field. You're going to have from Tuesday to Thursday to do installation before you have to travel to Baltimore to play a team that's really, really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go Bengals, at the Dolphins, at the Bills.
With a bye week squeezed in
With
there.
a bye week between the Bengals and the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get one of those against the Ravens or the Bengals.
Yep.
You really need to go into that bye week at 4-4 at worst.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, then you're in pretty good shape. And now, as opposed to being that Browns team that I've talked about on this show for, 3 solid years? Man, if you had any living, breathing quarterback, you would be a real threat. Well, now you are.
Yep. Now you're a real threat, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no amount of hemming and hawing, oh, he should have been suspended, all of that. Your opinion, and I know in the social media age this is going to sound harsh, but millennials, listen, your opinion does not matter. What matters
at Sports Tank ESPN.
Yeah.
That sounds like something I would say.
What matters is that the NFL went through the process. He's going to be gone for 6 games, and he'll be back Week 7 against the Baltimore Ravens. You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingles, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingles,
See you later, Dad.
all the ingredients for family.
The job market is competitive right now, so you need to be competitive to attract top talent. If you're trying to fill open positions at your business, iHeartMedia is here to help. Use radio and digital targeting to find fresh, passive candidates currently in the workforce. These candidates are listening right now, looking for new opportunities. Together, we can let the community know you're hiring. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
Can't believe this new $2 cheesy double beef burrito has all these kinds of cheese going on. Plus nacho cheese sauce. It's like they read my mind when they made this.
Nah, they couldn't have read your mind because it also comes in spicy. So they must have read my mind.
Are you really getting competitive over whose mind Taco Bell is reading?
Maybe.
Try Taco Bell's new $2 cheesy double beef burritos. Burritos with the 3-cheese blend, nacho cheese sauce, and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy melt burrito.
They say singing can help you remember things, so here's some tips for parents out there during these tough times.
Number 1. Make sure your kids wash their hands for 20 seconds after they've coughed or sneezed or been outside. 2. Virtual play dates. Social and physical distancing can help save lives. 3. Tell them they're safe and show your love and pride. Yes, we'll get through this together.
Find out more at coronavirus.gov. A message from the CDC and the Ad Council.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's his 4th. But you know what they say, 4th time's the charm. Well, here's the problem. Your tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm definitely a crier. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
I'm Hannah Waddingham, and this is Hustle Rule, an audio docuseries featuring the untold stories of women soccer players around the world. From the streets of Santos, Brazil, to a truck smuggling Afghan refugees bumping along a road in rural Denmark. These are the stories of players willing to risk everything for the game they love. Listen to Hustle Rule on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Won't stop for nobody.
Coming up after the top of the hour, we're going to switch over from the Deshaun Watson talk. We'll get into other things. We got Deebo Samuel to talk about, just getting his contract from the San Francisco 49ers and all of that. But just to put a pin in the Deshaun Watson discussion, at least for today, Evan Doyle in the YouTube comments. You want to comment? Go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That is your ticket into the chat. Evan Doyle says, I don't care about this ruling having no fine. It's so minimal anyway, so who cares? But last year, he was paid to sit at home and stew his options. What happens if this story doesn't break this way?
And I've heard this. I've heard this several times of the reason that people don't want to say he was suspended last year is because he still got compensated. All right, let me ask you a counterpoint of that. If it wasn't for this story, and the Houston Texans had already shown a willingness to move him, do you not think he would have been moved somewhere last year?
Uh-huh.
If it wasn't for this and it's just a 25-year-old star quarterback on a rookie deal, do you not think somebody would have jumped in and gone, we'll give you 3 first-round picks?
Mm-hmm.
They got 3 ones with this story hanging over him. What do you think he'd have gotten last year? He sat at home because he didn't want to play for the Texans, that's just not true. The fact of the matter of that situation is they were afraid he was going to get hurt because they knew unequivocally this relationship is done. They knew what, and I can't say they knew what they had done. That's accusations. They knew if he gets hurt, we get nothing. We know this relationship is soured. We know there are accusations out there. And so they just sent him home and went, well, we'll hope this is resolved by next offseason. When it wasn't, that's when they panicked and went, you can talk to whoever you want to. We are not doing this again. But had it not been for the accusations, he would have been comped the same way. He would have just been playing.
Yep.
That's the only thing that kept him off the field last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that has always been my argument of, well, he got paid. Yeah. He didn't get paid a whole lot. He's still on a rookie deal. So it wasn't like it was some tremendous amount of money.
Well, wait, I thought last year was the first year of the extension that he signed.
No. That's how Cleveland wound up with the $230 million guaranteed deal.
Gotcha.
Because he came in the same year as Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like he made $1 billion last year. He made what he was due, and they told him to stay at home because of the allegations against him, which at the root of it is that's really a suspension. It cost you a year of your prime. You were paid. Why do you care so much about what somebody got paid?
Because that's what we
That's
do
one
now.
of the things I've never understood is why does the fine mean anything? I can't wrap my head around
We
that.
always have. We always have. Those who don't have, the have-nots have always hated the haves. And Deshaun Watson is a guy who has it all. I mean, let's be honest. He's got the contract, he's got all of the money, and this didn't touch any of it. And that's the problem. He's going to lose out on $338,000.
And I'll be really honest with you. That's this part of it is not from the Evan Doyle comment. This is I've heard this from a lot of people.
It's been all over social media.
You're worried about the fine and the fact that they reallocated his money, so even the 6-game suspension, it's not costing him that much. Why do you care how much it cost him? It could have cost him $30 million in settling these things. You have no idea. That's how NDAs work. So, I mean, at least that money went to the alleged victims.
But
the thing that always bothered me is, all right, he gets fined by the league. Where's that money go? Does it go to paying Roger Goodell?
It goes to charity.
In theory, you don't know that. It doesn't have to.
Well, I mean, that's how they have their fines structured. If you get fined by the league, it goes to charity.
News to me.
I remember that in a lot of discussions about how the NFL does these things. Okay, well, you're going to fine me, whatever, $25,000 because I wore the wrong shoes. Well, guess what? That's going to, whatever charity of the month.
And that's fine.
That the NFL's going after.
And that's fine. That's where the money should go.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that there are financial things here that are not tied directly into this. So
people just
I'm glad to not have to talk about it anymore. Yep. I am officially I'm breaking out a term that I haven't used since we moved to a daily format. Conversation probation. Deshaun Watson's name is in conversation probation.
All right. At least throughout the preseason? You're not going to talk about him during the preseason?
I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to talk about him until he can play a game again.
All right, so next week when he plays in preseason
That's
game
fine.
number 1.
I'll talk about that. I'll talk about what he does on the field.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Deebo Samuel getting paid by the San Francisco 49ers, as we all knew he would. What's going to be the impact of that for the 49ers coming up? Plus, Jeremy has he's just burning on this one question that he wants to know your opinion on. We'll get to that in the next hour as well.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, we're tracking a pretty good area of rainfall, thunderstorms in from the west coming across the mountains, and scattered thunderstorms early tonight, some with heavy downpours. 66 degrees, our low tonight, then less storm coverage for us Tuesday and Wednesday. High temps in the mid and upper 80s. Thunderstorms return to the forecast late week, Thursday, Friday, and for the weekend, first weekend of August. Scattered storms likely, temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Try Taco Bell's new cheesy double beef burritos now. A melty 3-cheese blend with nacho cheese sauce and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Prices vary, tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy melt burrito.
It's back. Countdown with Keith Olbermann, the podcast. Starting Monday, August 1st, a new episode every weekday morning. Political commentary beholden to only one special interest group, facts, plus sports. Did you know I used to do sports? And the worst persons in the world. New episodes every weekday morning. Listen to Countdown with Keith Olbermann on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
You might not have the biggest garage on the block, but with eBay Motors, there's 122 million parts right at your fingertips. Whatever you need, there's something that fits your vehicle. Air filters, tires, seat covers, and more. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
Fined by the NFL against 4 therapists. Former federal judge Sue L. Robinson, the independent disciplinary officer for the National Football League, handed down a 6-game suspension to Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The league was hoping for a full year. They have 3 days to file an appeal should they choose. This is in the wake of 25 women filing civil suits against Watson, of which Watson settled 23 of 24 pending cases. Major League Baseball's trade deadline comes your way tomorrow. The biggest prize available, Juan Soto of the Nationals. Padres are one of the potential suitors. Today, the Padres acquire closer Josh Hader from Milwaukee in a 5-player deal. 4 go back to the Brewers, including their closer, Taylor Rogers. Jeff Passan reported that. He also says, don't rule out the Padres for Juan Soto.
The Padres have been the presumptive favorite because they have Robert Hassel and C.J. Abrams. They have James Wood and Jackson Merrill, Mackenzie Gore, these really good, talented, young, under-control players who they are willing to move.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy, presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400 with Deshaun Watson on conversation probation. For a while, we move on to other things. And yes, the NFL, it's almost here. Thursday, we've got the Hall of Fame game, the first preseason game of the season. And we can focus on other things now that Deshaun Watson has been suspended. And let's start with the San Francisco 49ers, because once again, we have seen for the 19th time, it feels like this offseason, a wide receiver getting big money. Actually, there have been 6 wide receivers in this cycle that have gotten $24 million a year.
And I would argue that Deebo Samuel was the most important of all of them.
Why?
Because he's the one with a quarterback that I'm not going to say nervous about, because I'm not nervous about Trey Lance. I feel like there's a lot of insecurity about him because you haven't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
His range of outcomes is pretty high. If he couldn't play dead in the Western as a quarterback, he's still going to be a threat.
Yep.
But the more weapons you have around him, the better off he's going to be. And Deebo is so important to how that offense works and the pre-snap motion that tips off defense.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to make Trey Lance's job infinitely easier than it would have been without him.
Yes.
So he's one of the few that I have looked at these big deals and gone, yeah, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm fine.
I would say Tyreek is an equal benefit to his
I
new
don't like
quarterback.
how much you gave up to get Tyreek Hill.
Okay. I can get down with that because not only did you give up what you gave up to get Tyreek, you also had to pay him $30 million a year. So I understand that. Deebo's a better value. I'm with you. 3 years, $73.5 million max, and $58.1 million in guaranteed money. Now, I'd heard last week that Deebo was getting $70 guaranteed, whatever the deal was going to be. But I think this averages out. I think it averages out pretty well because I would have imagined a longer deal. Were you surprised that it was only a 3-year contract?
No, I would have been shocked if it's anything longer than that. Because my fear with how they used Deebo Samuel, I think that was always one of the objections, is that he wanted more time.
He wanted 5, at least, I bet.
And if you're going to use him that way, I understand why you don't want to pony that up.
Mm-hmm.
But this has always been the catch-22 with Deebo Samuel. If I don't use you the way I used you last year, you're not a $24 million a year weapon.
Indeed.
This way, you are. Now, it might take some years off the backside. The question is, can you stay healthy? Deebo's had injury issues. George Kittle has had injury issues. And my question would be, is there a team in the NFL that is more dependent on health than the San Francisco 49ers? You're two injuries away from being in serious trouble. No George Kittle, no Deebo Samuel for even a few weeks.
Right.
And I look at you much differently than I do right now.
I mean, I feel like last year was a perfect example of how a team can go from Super Bowl contender to, you may not make the playoffs. It was the Baltimore Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
You saw what injuries did to them. Now, granted, their injuries were far beyond just 2 guys. But, yeah, I mean, every team worries about that. Every team worries about whether or not we are going to be able to be healthy for a long period of time. And you said Deebo's had injury issues. Well, I mean, year before last, he was injured.
He's been dinged up a lot. He's been dinged up since he was at South Carolina.
Yeah. But he hasn't necessarily missed games.
No, but there's an overrated to that of how many games has Deebo Samuel played where he was limited?
Mm-hmm.
And he was not the weapon that he was. That was San Francisco's aversion to this. We're loosely using you as a running back.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not necessarily going to age well. And the more I've thought about this, I thought San Francisco's over-under total in Vegas, 9.5 wins. I thought that was painfully low. That team's really talented.
Mm-hmm.
But as you go through the brass tacks of it, there's a lot of things that could go wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, Trey Lance could come out and not take the step forward that everybody wants him to. You only saw him in partial time, 2 games last year, and he didn't look like he was going to come in and set the NFL on fire. And everything hinges on the quarterback. I mean, granted, that's why the Cleveland Browns did what they did. You need to have a quarterback that people believe in. Trey Lance gives you an opportunity, but as you said, there's a lot of unknowns about that kid. He looks good on tape. He looks good on tape. He looks really good against, D2 competition or FCS competition. But in the NFL, we don't know what he is.
I mean, I think I know what he is. I think he's the same player that I evaluated when he came out of college. He is built like Cam Newton, very large, very elusive.
Mm-hmm.
And in this offense, he's going to be difficult to game plan against. You have arguably the best left tackle in the league. I like a lot of pieces of this offensive line. Elijah Mitchell seems to be the just forgotten. I do not understand why everybody is just down on him. San Francisco is doing everything in their power to go, Elijah Mitchell's the guy.
Yes.
Can we stop talking about Ty Davis Price and Jeff Wilson?
No, because you're part of the fuel feeding into that fire.
I am, because you used a third-round pick on a running back.
You used a third-round pick on a running back, and they've never had a guy. Well, it's because they're always injured. And maybe Elijah Mitchell will be injured again. But until that time comes, he's the guy. They're going to feed him like Garrison Hurst.
All right, so let's not assume injury issues. Where do you have San Francisco, knowing that you're going to have Deebo?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you have the? How would you project San Francisco?
Short story: 7 seed.
Wow,
6 or 7 seed.
That seems so low to me in the NFC.
It does, but I mean, they're obviously, or to me, they're obviously not the best team in their division. So the LA Rams are going to take that. They can be one of the top 4 seeds because those go to the division winners. And then I don't see them as the next best team in the NFC.
I'm not sure that I don't.
Really? Okay.
To me, they're better than anybody in the NFC East.
Okay.
I would say they're better than practically anybody in the NFC South.
Better than the Bucs.
Their range of look, I've told you I'm not as fond of this Todd Bowles thing. I think it's going to age like a dairy product.
Right.
And the fact that the interior offensive line, it has not started nicely for you.
Mm-hmm.
That makes me really nervous.
I don't know.
There's a lot of moving pieces with Tampa Bay.
Because taking the same scenario, so we're taking injuries out of it and all of that. Best case scenario, I don't think this team is better than Dallas.
San Francisco?
Yeah.
Did you get intoxicated before you came in here?
I don't.
Okay, let me ask you this. What does Dallas do better than San Francisco? If you say play defense, I may throw you through that window right there.
No, it's not play defense. But they've got
Do they run the ball better?
They've got the better quarterback.
Maybe.
They got a better offensive line as a whole.
I don't know that I agree with you on that.
Okay.
There are a lot of question marks on that offensive line, and it cannot stay healthy.
I believe they run the ball better.
You're just flat out wrong on that. But okay. You got fat Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. The great Sasquatch of the NFL, Tony Pollard.
Mm-hmm.
He's ran 19 times in his life, but he's Barry Sanders. To me, those two just aren't in the same ballpark.
Oh, okay.
And you got to look at San Francisco. Starts with the Bears, the Seahawks, the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're better than the Broncos. The Rams, the Panthers, and the Falcons.
Oh, that's going to be.
How many of those games are you going to win, and why is it 5 of the 6?
Sure. Absolutely.
And to me, that's why we focus so much on the schedule when it comes out. This is a team, much like what I said about Arizona. The schedule needs to really lay your way. It didn't in any way for Arizona. It did for San Francisco. I don't care if Trey Lance comes out and is legally blind for 2 games. You're going to destroy the Bears, and you'll destroy the Seahawks. And the more of those games you have, the more comfortable he's going to get.
Agreed.
That's why Deebo was so important to me. He is the piece that makes the offense go. Now, if injuries start happening, then yeah, it could fall off the rails, but I'm not going to project that.
Right.
I mean, I just go down the schedule. You're projected to win 9.5 games. All right, there were 5, I think, almost layup victories, but let's say it's 4. You still play the Commanders, the Chargers twice, and the Seahawks again. You could show up with 10 guys at any given time, and I think you still win 8 games. And when I look at the what Trey Lance could be versus what I know him to be. All right, let's say he's Justin Fields. Let's say he's Justin Fields of last year. Obviously, San Francisco thought higher of him. Every team I talked to thought higher of Trey Lance than they did of Justin Fields.
Yes.
You're telling me that quarterback with this surrounding cast can't go 10-7?
Sure.
11-6? 12-5? None of those things would shock me.
That's kind of pushing it, but
none of those things would shock me.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think you're going to probably struggle to keep up with the Chiefs. You'll probably struggle to keep up with the Chargers. Other than that, I think this is a team that's not given the respect it deserves. And I still look at Kyle Shanahan and go, you've been this good with statue Matt Ryan and statue Jimmy Garoppolo. With the way that the NFL has progressed, now I'm giving you, without a doubt, the biggest arm you've ever had and the most mobile quarterback you've ever had. And I could argue the best weapons you've ever had. And somehow I'm supposed to think you're the 7 seed in the NFC?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. If they were that worried about Trey Lance, and this has been a huge topic of conversation all offseason long, why would you not have just gone, well, nobody will give us anything for Jimmy? You have the perfect out. We cannot get anything for Jimmy Garoppolo. Why would you not just lean on that? I hear all these reports of, well, he doesn't look comfortable. If he didn't look comfortable, this Jimmy Garoppolo thing would be long in the past because he would be the starter in San Francisco.
I'll tell you one thing. There are, and maybe this is just the locker room talk. This is just the guys sticking up for their guys. But I've yet to see one person that's willing to stick their neck out and say, he's not ready. And I would think at least there'd be one or two of those when you still have Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster. What is the future for the San Francisco 49ers with Trey Lance? More on that up next here in the Sportsocracy.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic in Asheville looking pretty good this afternoon. We got a couple of slow spots, including 26 eastbound right around Long Shoals Road. Watch for some more brake lights on 26 westbound as we approach New Airport Road. No accidents here, just a lot of congestion. Same goes for 40 westbound as we approach George's Branch Road and also Newfound Road. Elsewhere, rolling right along this afternoon. A little bit of some construction delay, but nothing too out of the ordinary. Tom Miter with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Dog days of summer got your business needing help? Check out Indeed, an all-in-one hiring solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 toward your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival.
September 23rd and 24th.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas. Stream it free on the CW app and CWTV.com. And get ready to win your way there. Starting next Monday.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival is connecting all of us.
Hyundai is a proud partner of the 2022 iHeartRadio Music Festival. When it comes to electric vehicles that go the distance, we're thinking of every mile. Hyundai, it's your journey.
Welcome to Allstate, where we bring it all together. And bundling your home and auto is good, right? And it saves you up to 25%. It all comes together. Allstate. Here, better protection costs a whole lot less. You're in good hands with Allstate. Click, call, or visit allstate.com to save today.
Bundled savings discounts will vary by state. Saving up to 25% is a countrywide average of savings off the home policy. Combining the multiple policy discount for having auto insurance with Allstate and the welcome discount savings at enrollment.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Tired of companies like Google and Facebook watching everything you do online? There's actually a simple solution. DuckDuckGo. It's an all-in-one privacy app with a built-in private search engine, web browser, one-click data clearing, email protection, and more, all for free. Download the app today and get the most comprehensive privacy protection with a push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
At Ingles, we know your closest companions are the ones who are always there for you. The ones you trust to have your back, no matter what. Who make the hard times a little softer. And the good ones, somehow, a little better.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years, but the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
It is the Sportsocracy, heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can get into the chat and continue to make fun of my hat. And
I mean, look, everybody that's reacting to Tank saying he would take the Dallas Cowboys over the San Francisco 49ers, Jason Trump hit the nail on the head. You're coming off a long pull and you're still high on diesel fumes. Where's my bell?
With the Georgia Bulldog trucker hat on. Y'all just really don't like the hat, and I'm fine with it because I dig it.
I think my bell disintegrated.
Good. I'm glad that it's gone.
Y'all
To me, y'all are just too crazy on the Dallas Cowboys. Like, everybody just expects, like, Amari Cooper's gone and this team's just going to go completely to hell. And I don't even kind of see it.
What do you feel good about? What about this team do you feel good about?
I feel
you open
good.
up with two games that you're going to get absolutely eviscerated.
Sure.
Then you have to travel to New York, which it's not going to be fun.
Oh, they're going to cakewalk that game.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with you. I think they'll win. It's not going to be nothing the Dallas Cowboys do will be a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm.
As long as Jerry Jones lives and breathes, nothing will be a cakewalk. And I'm telling you, when they get destroyed, and I firmly believe they're going to get destroyed at home 2 weeks in a row, I could see that coming off the rails. I mean, what? This is the question you never can answer for me in a way that makes any logical sense.
Okay.
What do you feel good that this team got better at?
Got better at? Well, I mean, I feel like the defense will be better.
How? You replaced Randy Gregory with Dante Fowler.
We got another year of our young guys to, improve.
Okay, tell me who those young guys are without saying Micah Parsons' name.
Trayvon Diggs.
Woo. You mean the most burnt corner in the NFL?
I get.
And then.
Yeah, and then I get what's-his-face that we drafted last year.
Oh, what's-his-face? That's a great start.
I can't remember his name off the top.
Jabril Cox is who you're...
No, not Jabril Cox. The other corner. The guy that they drafted out of Kentucky that didn't play at all
Kelvin
last
Joseph?
year. Yeah,
you mean
Kelvin
the guy
Joseph.
that I've seen play 14 snaps?
Hey, he was good.
He was fine. There's just a lot of things that are nothing to write home about. The offensive line has taken a step back, and there's virtually no way you can see it any other way.
Okay.
You replaced Lyle Collins with Terrence Steele.
I'm not telling you they're going to win the Super Bowl, but y'all expecting that they're worse than the frickin' Washington Commanders? Y'all are high on bath salts.
All right. You have to bet your house right now to make the playoffs or not.
The Dallas Cowboys?
Mm-hmm. There you go.
I'd probably bet not.
There you go. That's really the only point. Would you bet San Francisco doesn't make the playoffs? There you go.
Maybe.
There you go.
Maybe.
Case and point.
I don't get
there
all the
are certain
Dallas
teams
hatred.
that I just don't give the benefit of the doubt to.
Mm-hmm.
The Dallas Cowboys are one of those. I don't think you're coached well. You have one of the loudest owners in all of sports who just continually does nothing but heap the pressure on you. Now, conversely, I want you to look at another team that I'm not sure they do anything better than the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay.
I feel better about Pittsburgh than I do about Dallas, and it's not even close. It's not even close.
This is misguided to me, but okay.
Okay, what on that roster do you feel better about in Dallas than you do with Pittsburgh? There's only really one answer to me.
No, I was going to ask
quarterback.
I was going to ask you the question of what has Pittsburgh gotten better at?
My defense is light years better than Dallas's. Light years. Not even really worth talking about, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
My receiving core is better than yours. My running back is better than yours. And I would say our offensive lines are comparable. Tyler Biadasz has not been good. I can love him until my dying day.
Mm-hmm.
I was terrified about Tyler Smith outside of New Orleans because you know what? You just keep taking linemen from these little bitty, tiny schools and turning them into really good players.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Mark Lewis. That's a new name.
I
James
didn't see
Washington
that.
carted off today.
That's
so.
not
Are we to Simi Fehoko?
That's not good.
Yeah, he had a great play against the threes.
They're gonna have
a bunch of guys that'll probably be working at Home Depot 3 weeks from now.
Y'all got some moves to make.
100%. See, conversely, we were talking about San Francisco. I can't look at 9.5 and just not think that's low. I look at Dallas, anything above 8.5, and I'm good. I'm good. I think it's an 8-win team
based on their strength of schedule.
Yeah, their over/under in Vegas is 10 flat. I'll pass.
No, under.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. In the YouTube comments, Doyle asked, Kenny Pickett's been terrible in camp. Well, that gets back to what I actually wanted to say right here. Mitch Trubisky is on a scorched earth, no survivors mission to get Matt Nagy. I don't feel like you would be saying these things if you didn't feel really good about your surroundings right now. Did you hear what he said at SI, I think, is who put this out? I could complete passes, and he was the metaphorical he. We know exactly who you're talking about.
Right, Matt Nagy.
I would still have done it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And now I look at Pittsburgh and go, I get a mobile quarterback who went to a Pro Bowl before Matt Nagy, and now I get one of the best coaches in the league. Yeah, I think it's going to be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be just fine. And Kenny Pickett's been bad. I'm not shocked by that in any way.
No, of course not.
He's so ready to play. He was the most ready to play.
Mm-hmm. And that should tell you everything you need to know.
Because the others were bad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And far away from being able to compete in this league.
Good stat accumulators at the college level. Woo! You don't have the skills to translate to the NFL. And I felt that way about everybody. From Willis to Pickett to Ritter, all of them. Corral especially. I saw an interesting question posed today by a podcast. I don't even remember what podcast it was. But their question was, what's more likely to happen this year? Baker Mayfield is so good for the Carolina Panthers that he gets a second contract with the Carolina Panthers.
I don't care what the other thing you're about to say is. I'm going to take that.
See, that's what I thought when I read the first part of the question.
You can tell me I can jump out of an airplane and survive without a parachute. Yep, I'll take that.
That's what I thought when I read the first part of the question. But then the second option is what's more likely to happen was a quarterback wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I went, oh, well, that's a serious thought, because I don't think there's a chance in hell of either of those things happening.
Atlanta Falcons go 6-11. Desmond Ritter starts 15 games. He wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. And Breece Hall is not as good as we think he'll be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think all of the rookie receivers will start slowly. I would say there's a 2% chance of the latter and a negative 2% chance of the former.
Okay. So it is relatively close.
Oh, I mean, I don't think either one's – I mean, I'm not betting anything on either one, but there's a better chance that the sky is purple than Baker Mayfield finds a way to get a second contract.
100%. I felt the same way. The way training camp has gone, though, I mean, Mitch Trubisky looks like, or at least is out there projecting that everything's going to be just fine in Pittsburgh.
And look, Trubisky, nobody's ever questioned whether he was talented.
No.
He's certainly talented.
Mm-hmm.
He was put in a horrid situation. Just look at what's happened with the Chicago Bears, even without Matt Nagy. Who's the one piece of that offensive line that you feel like is a legitimate starter in this league?
Say that again?
With the Chicago Bears, who is the one player – I know I can walk you into what I want you to say right here. Who is the one player on the Chicago Bears offensive line that you feel like is a legitimate starter in the NFL?
I would say Tevin Jenkins.
Yeah, you mean the guy they're looking to trade
Are
actively?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, because he's such an attitude problem. This is with the new coach. The Chicago Bears are you're just the gift that keeps on giving for me. And I'm looking at this going, all right, you couldn't make this work with Trubisky. Now he's moved on. He's basically on a 1-year prove-it deal with Pittsburgh. And he has become as mouthy as humanly possible. What does that tell you? You don't get really mouthy when you're going to be holding a clipboard for an extended period of the season.
Mm-hmm.
You get mouthy when you know you're about to disprove a lot of people. And I kind of look at Trubisky and Trey Lance the same way. I don't need you to be Pat Mahomes. I need you to be mobile. I need you to be multiple, and I need you to not turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
You do those two things, I like both teams.
You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Don't forget to vote in the poll. It is up on the YouTube stream right now. Who won the daily draft from Friday, where Jeremy and I drafted fantasy teams from the NFC North? He wound up with Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cole Kmet, Aaron Jones, David Montgomery, and Darnell Mooney.
That's a lot of Bears.
My championship team, Aaron Rodgers, DeAndre Swift, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, A.J. Dillon, Adam Thielen, and Jameson Williams. You could vote on which roster you like the best right now in the poll. That will decide who gets the number one pick, the all-important number one pick in the AFC East draft coming up at the top of the next hour. Again, thesportsocracy.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can vote in the poll and get in on the comments.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, we're tracking a pretty good area of rainfall, thunderstorms in from the west coming across the mountains, and scattered thunderstorms early tonight. Some with heavy downpours. 66 degrees, our low tonight, then less storm coverage for us Tuesday and Wednesday. High temps in the mid and upper 80s. Thunderstorms return to the forecast late week, Thursday, Friday, and for the weekend, first weekend of August. Scattered storms likely, temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic not too bad for us this afternoon. We got a couple extra brake lights on the westbound side of 26 between New Airport Road and Long Shoals, but that's about it at this point. Mostly looking at a really decent drive as we're making our way from Hendersonville to Long Shoals. Going to take about 6 minutes. 240 westbound from Tunnel Road to 40, under a 10-minute drive. And still looking at a pretty decent drive now on 26 eastbound from 40 to the state line, just over a half an hour. Tom Miner with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Try Taco Bell's new cheesy double beef burritos now. A melty 3-cheese blend with nacho cheese sauce and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Prices vary, tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy melt burrito.
Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted each year. Help police by not escalating. Address any complaints after the encounter. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. Learn more at nationalpolice.org.
The biannual blowout is just a week away, and we've got a lot of work to do.
Keenan's Rug Emporium is rolling out a Labor Day bonanza.
Have that flat weave shipment coming in.
He needs 10 new sales associates as the crowds loom large.
Someone run a stock check on all the Moroccan 8x10s?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
DQ presents Picture this. Picture the burger of your dreams. It's on the new DQ Signature Stack Burgers menu. A lineup of 5 premium burgers like the Flamethrower Signature Stack Burger and Loaded A1 Signature Stack Burger with 100% seasoned real beef patties, melty cheese, and a combo of top-notch toppings and sauces galore. This dream burger is calling your name. But it isn't a dream. You're ordering at the DQ drive-thru. The DQ Signature Stack Burgers lineup. Try it today. DQ. Happy tastes good.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I am Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingles, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingles.
See you later, Dad.
All the ingredients for family.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
All right, time to get weird, folks, here on ESPN Asheville in the Sportsocracy. Heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. And Jeremy always likes to say...
Don't do crimes!
Yeah, well, it's not time for that yet. That's coming up next hour. When you hear hoofbeats...
Oh, it makes a lot more sense to assume horses than zebras.
Yeah, well, not unless you're in Miller County, Missouri, because a Miller County business owner says for the last 3 days, his adult zebra has been on the run.
His adult zebra?
Yes, he has an adult zebra named Marty. And Marty was...
That's a stupid name for a zebra.
Well, I mean,
you don't call a zebra Marty. That's... Okay, I thought it was weird that you had a zebra in the first place, but naming him Marty is dumb.
Well, I have to assume that he was named after the Madagascar movie. I know that you probably haven't seen the Madagascar movies, the DreamWorks.
I'm 35 years old, so no, I have
the DreamWorks cartoons, but the Chris Rock played the zebra named Marty, and so they have a Marty zebra. Anyway, Joe McDevitt bought Marty the zebra around 3 months ago, and he says that for the last 3 days he's been on the lam because yeah, exactly. So he has apparently they're doing some construction near the 600-acre farm that Marty's owner has, and during the construction he got spooked and apparently jumped over one of the containment fences. Well, the 600-acre property butts up against another 500-acre property, and they said for the last 3 days they've been going around and they cannot find hide nor hair of the zebra Marty. Said they even got calls of people saying that they had seen Marty somewhere around the property, and they went out and they put on all of their tactical gear. What you need tactical gear for to find a zebra, I don't know, but he said we went out and tried to trank him, but apparently they can't catch up to him. No matter where he is, he always gets spooked when somebody gets close enough to shoot him with the tranquilizer gun, and he's gone. So there is a full-on APB out in Miller County, Missouri for Marty the zebra. And if you find a zebra and he doesn't come when you say, "Come here, Marty," then it's not him. It's probably somebody else's zebra.
If you see a zebra, it makes a lot more sense to assume it's Marty than another zebra.
There you go.
I'm not a super big fan of the Subway restaurant chain.
I don't think anybody is.
Well, apparently you're not right, because there were a slew of people in Las Vegas that jumped up to answer their call.
Huh.
So Subway had a block party in Las Vegas.
Okay.
To unveil their new the Subway series menu. They offered free Subway sandwiches for life if you were willing to get a 1 foot long by 1 foot tall Subway series logo tattooed on your body. And a doctoral candidate from Colorado named James Kuhns, he answered the call.
Huh.
He got a full 1 foot by 1 foot tattoo on his back that has, the thing that blows my mind is the tattoo's huge. The Subway logo is not huge. It's all over his back. He did this for what equated to $50,000 in free Subway sandwiches.
$50,000.
Mm-hmm. That's Subway for life. I don't know how they broke it down, but somehow it turned into $50,000 worth of Subway gift cards.
Probably the way that these always work, that you get 1 foot long Subway sandwich for a week, for every, one every week for the rest of your life.
All right. So this got me thinking, what would I possibly get a 1 foot by 1 foot tattoo of for a free supply of it?
Mm-hmm.
I came up with so many answers that I didn't even want to call out an individual brand. I'm going to make an open declaration, and I'm not going to put a number on this.
Okay.
I like tattoos. All right. If you've ever met me, I have a good number of them. I'm a tattoo guy. So I am willing to get a 1 foot by 1 foot tattoo of the company's choosing. But I have one stipulation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you give me, you have to give to charity an equal amount. So if you're giving me free sandwiches, you have to donate free sandwiches to a charity.
Okay.
We'll mutually agree on the charity.
And mutually agree on the price.
The highest bidder wins. Look, we always talk about how I feel about receivers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very slotty when it comes to receivers.
Right.
Well, I am when it comes to charity as well. So, any food entity that is willing to match this deal or better, and half of it go to charity, I'm in.
So it starts at $50,000.
Well, I mean, it's 25 to me. I do have to have it, you know.
Okay.
But I want the same thing to
I'm
go to
just
charity.
saying, like somebody couldn't call up right now and say, "Hey,
Well, I'm not doing it for 4 cheeseburgers and a sweet tea."
Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to clear that up before Billy Joe Bob's hot dog stand decided I'm gonna give you 4 hot dogs and I'll give the same to charity, and you got to get the tattoo.
No, for if it's in the ballpark of what this guy got from Subway,
okay,
and half of it goes to charity, I'll do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will get the logo of your brand tattooed on myself. Now, you're going to have to be pretty selective about placement because I don't have many 1 foot by 1 foot
squares on your body.
Squares. Yeah. You're going to have to be a little...
I don't think too many people do.
You're going to have to get what you get there.
If you've got somebody that has more than that space for multiple of these tattoos, then they probably need to call PhD weight loss. I'm just
and I'm just all right. So the clip of that I'm going to put out on social media. If you have a company, I don't care what it is, and I knew somebody was going to say this. Jason Trump said, "I want to find a bird logo of some entity." I'm in.
Rocky's Hot Chicken Shack.
And for the right amount of money to charity, I will go a little overboard here. I think we've all figured out that I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So, let the games begin. Because I read this and I went, for charity, I'd totally do it.
God.
I'd totally do it.
$50,000, though. That's...
You pony up $50,000 for charity? There's no... I might put it on my... I'm not putting it on my face. I'm not putting it on my face.
You're not doing that.
But 100%. 100%.
I'm
for
glad,
charity, I will totally do it.
I'm glad that you're willing to do that.
And I have a very high-level tattoo artist in this city that will also do the tattoo. So it will be very good work, too. This will not be cheap work.
If you to get me to put your logo on my body permanently, especially in a manner in which everybody's going to see it, take my shirt off anywhere, everybody's going to see that Subway Series tattoo from my neck all the way down to the middle of my back. You got to pony up more than a sandwich a week for the rest of my life. I need full-on, I never have to buy food again.
That's the charity aspect.
Yeah. I can go to your place because Jeremy asked me originally, what would it take? Where could you get food from that would give you food for life that you would get a tattoo of their logo? There's a bunch of places, but I'm going to need, for real, food for life. None of this, you can come get a sandwich a week. No, I want 7 days a week. I can come to your place and get an entree forever.
And see, I don't need that. I need a very sizable donation to charity and just a little bit for me. Just a little bit.
I don't know that we're going to get any takers on this, but okay.
It depends. If all of the listeners of this show,
is there a place that you wouldn't take
Subway
from? That's it.
Subway.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, Subway, a lot of people have lost a lot of weight doing Subway. It's not my thing. That's just me being honest.
Right.
Like, for this, I saw it and I went, okay, I'm Seacrest out. That's no shade to them. I'm sure a lot of people really like their sandwiches. I personally don't.
Right.
I'm very sandwich picky. But in terms of for the right amount to charity, no, there's probably not one. I'm racking my brain right now trying to think of one. I can't off the top of my head.
I don't know that there's a place that exists that I wouldn't. Of course, everybody knows me. I'm cheap.
Oh, 100%.
And if I can get out with
Tank heard free and went in.
Hell yeah. Anywhere.
Angry Browns fan in our YouTube comment said, I might get a Sportsocracy beer icon tattoo. Don't you threaten me with a good time. I can find a way to make that work.
Nice.
How could we do that?
What could we offer?
I don't know. Let me confer with the tattoo artist there. There's a way to do that to make it beneficial.
What kind of a deal could we offer to get Sportsocracy tattoos on all of our listeners? That would be.
That sounded very cult-like when you said it that way.
Jason Trump says Long John Silver's is one he'd be out on.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I've never figured out how Long John Silver's is still in business. So, I mean, for the right amount, I'll do Long John Silver's. Now, the free food, you double up the charitable donation.
Havoc says he wouldn't take KFC, but Popeyes, on the other hand.
I'm all the way in.
Look,
I don't care.
By the way, Popeyes fans, I need to drop this in there. Our loyal listener, Binky Engel, his daughter is now the new manager at the Popeyes down on Smoky Park Highway. If you heard nightmare stories like I did about that place, just know that there's somebody in the family now that runs that place. Much better than it used to be. Please go see them.
I love Popeyes.
Down
I love
on
KFC.
Smoky Park Highway at the Popeyes.
Any of these places, I don't care. I don't care what it comes from. For the right amount for charity, I'm in.
Yep.
We did one of these last year where I was talking about breaking the Guinness Book of World Records for bars.
Yes.
I didn't forget. Have no fear I didn't forget.
Well, let's hope not.
There was a logistical hang-up to that I had to figure out, and I'm close.
I can't wait to hear what this is.
I'm close.
Okay. All right. So we're going to have the bar crawl.
Might be able to, you know what? If we found somebody that would do this for charity, might be able to do both, do even more good.
Interesting. Okay.
Might even be able to do more good.
I'm just saying from Subway, that's a whole lot of meatball subs because that's the only thing that I really dig at Subway.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. I do like the meatball
Their
sub.
meatball subs are so good.
That's a good point. I forgot about that.
You add pepperoni and peppers to them.
Take it back.
There.
I'll do it for Subway, too. All meatballs.
All of them. That's the thing I tell my wife all the time. She's like, where don't you want to eat? I will find something I like everywhere, honey. It's up to you.
That's what marriage actually is. Marriage is actually just two people arguing about where they're going to eat until one of them dies.
100%.
That's I mean, look, I'm working on my third, so I've learned a little bit over the last 35 years.
Indeed. You are in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Would you do it? Would you get the tattoo if you were guaranteed to have free food for at least an extended period of time? My price is higher than yours, but there again, I hold my body to a higher esteem.
I have more tattoos than you do.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic not too bad for us this afternoon. We got a couple extra brake lights on the westbound side of 26 between New Airport Road and Long Shoals, but that's about it at this point. Mostly looking at a really decent drive as we're making our way from Hendersonville to Long Shoals. Going to take about 6 minutes. 240 westbound from Tunnel Road to 40, under a 10-minute drive. And still looking at a pretty decent drive now on 26 eastbound from 40 to the state line, just over a half an hour. Tom Miner with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. Try Taco Bell's new cheesy double beef burritos now. A melty 3-cheese blend with nacho cheese sauce and double the seasoned beef in classic and spicy. At participating stores for a limited time while supplies last. Prices vary, tax extra. Double the seasoned beef as compared to beefy milk burrito.
Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Bill was tired of saying no to his kids because of his debilitating pain.
I have 3 kids that are 13 and under. Every day they're asking, Dad, can we take a bike ride? Dad, can we play ping pong? Unfortunately, in the past, I had to sadly say no quite often.
An accident left Bill with aching knees and shoulders. Even after 4 knee surgeries, Bill still felt constant pain in his knees. And then he discovered QC Kinetics and their natural biologic therapies.
I did it on the knee. It really became life-changing. I've had the same results with the shoulder.
QC Kinetics non-invasive regenerative treatments help restore damaged tissue and provided much-needed relief for knees, hips, shoulders, and backs. Right there in the office, no downtime. Bill's able to do just about anything these days.
Like taking my kids to Disney World and walking 10 miles a day at Disney, bike riding, taking a walk on the beach.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.
And welcome back into the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville. Heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app, seen everywhere on YouTube. And, football season, it's here. We got training camps. We got full padded practices now taking place around the NFL. That was a first today. Phase 3 is over. We now have contact in these practices, which, of course, we'll be watching all of the waiver wires, or not the waiver wires, but the news wires to see any unfortunate injuries that might occur as padded practices have begun around training camps. We've got the Hall of Fame game coming up on Thursday night that we know we're all going to be glued into.
There are now no more weekends until February with no football.
Oh, it's
now, it might be
good.
preseason football.
I don't care.
But it's still football.
I don't care. As long as
preseason football, better or worse than playoff NBA basketball?
Better.
Agreed. Agreed.
It is better because there's at least going to be a series or two that you're interested in, unlike the NBA playoffs.
All right. Over under 13.5. Number of preseason games that Jeremy has an active wager on.
Over.
You're not right yet, but I have a feeling you will be.
Really?
I have a funny feeling you will be.
Wait. The games haven't even happened, and you already laid money on preseason games?
What, are you, a cop?
You degenerate gambler, you.
What, are you, a cop?
Good night. What was the first game? Just tell us.
I had one on the Hall of Fame game.
Oh, you do?
Oh, and an aggressive one at that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Is it final score, taking the spread, or do you break it down into do they break it down into series, like who wins the first quarter?
The first preseason game, you always look at how good is the second team, which team's deeper, and to me, that is not really much of a question. So yeah, I mean, I might have a doubloon or two on that.
Interesting. Well, throughout the NFL season, we always like to get together with as many people as possible to watch all of the games And this year, we have a new place to post up every weekend.
So moving forward, this starting week 1 of the NFL season, we will be at the Village Porch in Woodfin, which is an official Bills backer bar, which ties in perfectly to the year of the Buffalo Bills. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
And Stephen Tao and I will be there every weekend to remind you that the Ravens are still in town.
Oh, 100%. Look, it's the bandwagon that I have attached myself to. I also, if there is an interest in this, we were going to do this last year, and it just didn't work out with logistical things. I am willing to offer 5 listeners. I will host your fantasy football draft.
Nice.
I have all the software, all the things. If you want to do an in-person draft, because I think everybody should do in-person fantasy football drafts.
100%.
I will host them at the Village Porch. You just have to reach out to me at ESPN Draft Nerd. Send me a DM or a comment, however people. I don't handle any of those things. So, all right. It's forwarded to me like, hey, answer this. Cool.
Nice.
But I will host your fantasy football draft. We'll pick a few winners, and I'll host them at the Village Porch.
Excellent. All right.
And I'll make jokes, and if you take kickers in the 6th round like happened in the draft I was in last night, I will 100% make fun of you.
All right, so the Village Porch is where we're going to be posting up every Sunday throughout the football season.
I'm very excited about that. The food's phenomenal. They turned me on to the cauliflower wing. Have you ever had a cauliflower wing?
Uh-huh.
I never had. Good gracious. I could legitimately eat 1,000 of them. So good.
You probably shouldn't eat 1,000 of them.
No, I mean, and I don't. But
but they're very, very good.
They're very good.
That's what you're saying. Okay. Good.
But we're looking forward to that through the football season. We'll also have things that we're putting out over the course of the week with our Patreon fans of your fantasy football drafts. There's going to be a little package if maybe you have questions about your own teams, about your own drafts.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a number that you can reach out. No, it is not my personal cell phone number. I learned that on Twitter long ago. That is a protected secret because that was not a fun few days.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember.
Oh, it was hilarious.
Oh, it was awful.
When his cell phone got out there and people started calling. Whoo,
oh, that was the worst.
That was so good. Thank God it wasn't
made me question
mine.
numbers of people that I even know.
Like, wait, what are you
like,
calling me
why
for?
are you calling me right now?
Nice. Today is a big day, by the way. Today is a big day because today is the book release for Dr. Ashley Lucas. That's right. The mastermind of the PhD weight loss program has a new book that has just hit the stands, so to speak. I know they're virtual stands now. I mean, you can go online and you can go to myphdweightloss.com and you can buy the new book, 5 Steps to Reset the Scale, Discovering Why Weight Gain is Not Your Fault, and How to Take the Weight Off for Good by Dr. Ashley Lucas. She has changed my life. The PhD weight loss program has helped me lose over 80 pounds in just over 6 months. And I can't say enough about the journey that I have been on. I have learned that there is another life other than being the fat guy. And I'm still getting used to who that person is. Buying all these extra large and large size clothes is a big step in the right direction for me.
A lot of people talk about my golf is my hobby, but that's not really a physical activity to some people. Well, over the weekend, we're redoing a house that we're getting ready to sell. And over the weekend, I actually saw the benefits in full color of the PhD weight loss program as I had to move refrigerators and things like that. This got me back into shape where I could go to the gym. I could do all the things that I wanted to do. And I totally felt the difference lifting a refrigerator by myself. Just saying. Did that. It's all thanks to the plan of the program of PhD weight loss.
Again, the book is available today, myphdweightloss.com. You can get it through Amazon. You can get the Kindle version for just 99 cents. Paperback version is just under $10. Dr. Ashley Lucas, 5 Steps to Reset the Scale. Get it today. Change your life. Trust your transformation with the same person that I trusted mine with. Dr. Ashley Lucas at myphdweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss, the official weight loss program of the Clemson Tigers and their fans. The Daily Draft is coming up next after the Sports Center update, and well,
you
Jeremy,
officially have the number one pick. And that's one time, I'm not going to lie, I actually would have voted for you as well.
Really? All right, so I win the draft from Friday. AFC East Fantasy Draft coming up next.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, we're tracking a pretty good area of rainfall, thunderstorms in from the west coming across the mountains, and scattered thunderstorms early tonight. Some with heavy downpours. 66 degrees, our low tonight. Then less storm coverage for us Tuesday and Wednesday. High temps in the mid and upper 80s. Thunderstorms return to the forecast late week, Thursday, Friday, and for the weekend, first weekend of August. Scattered storms likely, temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic not too bad for us this afternoon. We got a couple extra brake lights on the westbound side of 26 between New Airport Road and Long Shoals, but that's about it at this point. Mostly looking at a really decent drive as we're making our way from Hendersonville to Long Shoals. Going to take about 6 minutes. 240 westbound from Tunnel Road to 40, under a 10-minute drive. And still looking at a pretty decent drive now on 26 eastbound from 40 to the state line, just over a half an hour. Tom Miner with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
63 Americans a day die by gun suicide. By storing our guns safely, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo, we can give our loved ones a second chance at life. Learn more at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
The Sportsocracy.
What are you people? On dope?
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. Breaking news out of Major League Baseball right now, 24 hours in advance of the trade deadline. Here we go. The top two teams in the American League are making moves. According to ESPN's Jeff Passan, the Yankees have traded for Frankie Montas to the Oakland A's. The right-hander, one of the top free agent, one of the top trade deadline targets, has a 3.18 ERA on the year. The Yankees also get reliever Lou Trevino in the deal. In a separate deal, the Yankees get reliever Scott Efros from the Chicago Cubs. Also today, the Astros have just landed first baseman Trey Mancini of the Baltimore Orioles. News first reported by The Athletic. Now to the news that has dominated the day. Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson been suspended for the first 6 games of the upcoming season for violating the league's league's personal conduct policy. The ruling handed down by NFL disciplinary officer Sue L. Robinson, with Watson being accused of sexual assault and inappropriate conduct during massage sessions by 25 women filed in civil suits. Watson recently settled 23 of the 24 pending cases. The league has 3 days to appeal.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I was driving in this morning, getting here like around.
Honking at people?
Nah, I started flashing people.
Whoa!
Well, not like that.
Do you get better results?
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
And we are live in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. Third hour of the program, as always, starts the same way each and every weekday afternoon, the Daily Draft. We're continuing to work our way through each and every division of the NFL, where Jeremy and I will draft fantasy teams solely from one division at a time. I won the NFC North fantasy draft on Friday. Thank you to everyone who voted and saw just the domination that was Tank against Jeremy in the NFC
I
North.
don't think I can say domination. But
So today, that leads us to the AFC East, home of Jeremy's New York Jets.
Jets, Jets.
And, of course, the team that we expect is going to win this division in a walk.
Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
And I have the first pick in the draft. And to me, there is only one place that you could start in the fantasy draft of the AFC East, and that is the one position that is the most important in all of football. And the drastic advantage that I believe I will have over everyone else that Jeremy could pick at the position. And so, from Jeremy's 2022
NFL champion Buffalo Bills,
I'm taking Josh Allen, number one. It's the most drastic of possibly all of the divisions in football. You've got one quarterback to choose from.
I don't disagree with you there. The other three are very similar.
Yes.
So now I can just sit back and I don't have to take a quarterback, and that's fine.
Right.
I was personally hoping that wasn't what you were going to do.
It's the bad part about doing these over and over and over with Jeremy is I get smarter as the season goes along.
Yeah, the first one, that did not go your way. Well, he can't take two running backs. But I can.
But I can, and I will.
I can.
And I will.
And I will leave you with nothing. I mean, Josh Allen's the right call.
Right.
That's the biggest discrepancy, player over player, of any position.
Yes.
Now, that puts me in a bit of a position because I feel like there is another position where, since I have two picks back to back, I can put you at a disadvantage.
Okay.
So I'm going to take two players at the same position.
Okay.
I'm going to take two receivers. I'm going to take Mr. Stephon Diggs.
Good call.
And Mr. Tyreek Hill.
There you go. That's the way to do it. You get your tail kicked at quarterback. How about put him behind the 8 ball at wide receiver?
Yeah.
It's a hell of a strategy.
Because your receivers are going to take a significant step back from mine.
Well, maybe.
Oh, I already know what you're going to do.
Oh, do you now?
I do.
Okay.
I mean, look, Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill to me are both top 2-round values in a normal league.
Yes.
I think they're both top 8 receivers in the NFL. A lot of people have pushed down Tyreek Hill now to a point that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, that'll all change when they see the latest of the highlight reels to come out of Miami. Everybody's now losing their
everybody loses their mind because
65-yard bomb from Tua to Tyreek. See, it's going to be great.
Yeah, Jameis Winston just hit a 60-yarder to Chris Olave where there wasn't a defender in the frame.
Uh-huh. Weird. It looks like most of his touchdown catches at Ohio State.
Yeah, because somebody just forgot. Like, oh, well, there he goes.
Yeah, we gotta guard that guy. All right, Stephon Diggs obviously hooking up with Josh Allen. That to me is like one of the perfect stacks that you can create in your fantasy drafts that are obviously not just tied to one division like the exercise that we're going through. But is that one of the top, or is that the top stack for you in a fantasy draft?
Josh Allen and
Stephon Diggs.
Maybe. You have to take it so high that it kind of bothers me. I would say Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews is close. I don't have many more that are in that same ballpark. I mean, because there's nobody in Green Bay. There's nobody in Tampa Bay. And I know that's going to sound weird. I just don't know exactly how that's going to look. If I knew Chris Godwin wasn't going to play for the first 6 weeks, okay, now it's Mike Evans.
Yes.
But then you throw in Julio and Russell Gage. I don't love any of that.
I feel like Tom and Mike is close. It's not at the level of Stephon and Josh.
Pat Mahomes, Travis Kelce's is up there.
That is a good one. That is a good one. I was trying to think of others. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott would be up there for me, but
that
not in the
not
ballpark
even in the top
of these.
8. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase is up there really high for me.
Yeah,
too.
that's a good one. I hadn't thought about
Joe
that
Burrow
one.
goes just lower than he should. I did a draft last night where where I continuously see him go lower than he should.
But where do you think he finishes this year?
Burrow?
Yeah.
I will say I'm not as convinced that defense is as good as everybody thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just I don't think it's a top 10 defense in this league. So probably gets into more shootouts than some of these other teams do. I'll say Joe B finishes 6.
Okay.
Jamar Chase is my 1 in terms of receivers. I'm not going to make this mistake again.
Right.
I learned my lesson on that last year. He did that much as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And he has T. Higgins on the other side. Yeah, it's fine.
I have seen a lot of, Joe Burrow, I mean, his fantasy output doesn't equal what we see on the field. And I'm thinking, but don't you think it will? Don't you believe that even if his fantasy output has been muted, that after what they captured last year late in the season and in the run to the Super Bowl, don't you think that that's going to bump him up there to top 5 category?
I can't tell you that it's going to be that high.
Maybe I'm overselling it. I don't know.
I mean, he was 8 last year.
Right.
And missed a game. I think that's probably the floor.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that. All right, so you go Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, back-to-back, which brings it back around to me, which does put me in an interesting position here.
Well, I'll just go ahead and tell you that receiver that you – well, it's not that. You better take him, because if you don't,
you better take
I will.
You better take it. All right, well.
For me, that was also a part of this.
I'll go to the Miami Dolphins again, and I'll take Jalen Waddle.
For me, that was also a part of taking 2 receivers. I knew I was forcing your hand.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are 2 running backs that I want, and I knew you couldn't take them both.
Interesting.
Strategery.
Yeah. Jalen Waddle will be my first wide receiver because I just feel like despite the fact that Tyreek Hill is in town, I'm not that worried about Jalen losing targets.
You shouldn't be. He shouldn't be. Now, do I think he's going to be – I firmly don't believe that you can have 2 top 16 receivers with Tua Tagovailoa as your quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I still believe it.
Mm-hmm.
So the question then becomes who ends up where? And I would say Tyreek comes down a little bit, probably back in wide receiver 1. I think I have him at 10.
Mm-hmm.
And Jalen Waddle probably comes somewhere around 20. To me, there is a difference. One of them is clearly a better player.
Indeed.
And you have a much higher investment, of which, no, that doesn't always matter, but in this case, I think it does.
Mm-hmm.
They can both be good. I just think one will be elite and the other will be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Much like T. Higgins was in Cincinnati last year.
Right, and I think about Tom as well in Tampa. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. You got a hell of a tandem there. As long as you've got a quarterback that can get them the ball, and that's the big question with Miami. Do we have a quarterback that can get you both the ball routinely and keep you fantasy relevant? I believe he will. I believe even a half-assed Tua Tagovailoa will be able to keep these guys fantasy relevant throughout the season.
Now the question, what do you do now?
Now comes the running back. And because I'm drafting against Jeremy Greene, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go running back, and I'm gonna go Breece Hall. I will take Breece Hall as my number 1 running back because, I mean, be honest with me, every running back situation in this division is muddled.
I don't disagree with that. I just think they're all much clearer than people want to make them out to be.
Okay.
All right, so you say they're muddled.
Mm-hmm.
Breece Hall, Michael Carter, what's the split?
I would say 60-40.
I'll say it's 65-35.
Okay.
And Breece Hall's going to get virtually all of the receiving work.
Agreed.
That's to me, you can take him with confidence. I got him last night in the 4th round in a league that is half point per carry, and I went, yay! And felt just fine about it.
Yeah, that team's going to be stacked.
It's going to be very good.
Yeah.
It is the first time I've ever drafted a team where I walked out of the draft. I didn't have a defense, a kicker, or a tight end. It's the first time I've ever done that.
And he did just fine.
And I did just fine. Mm-hmm. And now I just sit back and wait for all the teams that didn't realize it's half point per carry to come. Yeah. Let's discuss my running
I need
backs.
that seventh running back that you drafted.
Cole,
and I'll
give me that receiver you took in the second round.
Bingo.
I fully plan on doing that.
Right.
Just sitting at the table like a mob don waiting for.
Right. I have said all off season long, I'm not sure that I buy into the whole Breece Hall momentum that's going right now. Everybody just believes he's going to come in and set the division on fire or the league on fire.
Which, by the way, I do too.
I don't know that I agree with that. But at least when you're looking at this division, he is the one running back that I look at in all of these and go, he's got the potential. He's got the potential to be a top 10 running back in the league. Everybody else, I don't know about your running back situations. Because there's one historically that we know is going to drive you nuts in the New England Patriots. And I think that's where the second best running back in this division lives.
And I would agree, which is why I'm going to take him right here. Because that's the only one that I feel even a modicum of belief that you're going to get the majority of the snaps. From here, you were talking about being muddled.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there are tiers. The Jets is without a doubt the most clear cut. You have a second-round pick invested in Breece Hall. Yeah, we liked Michael Carter. He's still a fourth-round pick.
Right.
All right, every team in the league passed on him twice. Great player, great complimentary piece. I fully believe there's too much made in New England about all of the ancillary pieces. Well, James White's back. You never threw at Damian Harris anyway. Ramondre Stevenson gets all the short yardage work. He did last year too. I just don't care. There is one running back in that room that I feel like can be a legitimate top 24 running back, and it's Damian Harris. Now, I have a dedicated belief that there is a discrepancy with the players that are left. But it's probably not the one that you think.
Okay.
I'm going to, as I usually do, take my little commercial break to make sure that I'm where I want to be. After the break, I'll tell you who that is.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Still looking at some stop-and-go traffic now on the westbound side of 26. Delays still pretty heavy between New Airport Road and Long Shoals through Henderson. No accidents here, just a little bit of some volume. Still continuing to see some delay now as we make our way on 40 both directions between 25 and Dunsmore Avenue as well. It's long-term road construction slowing us up here. Tom Miter with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Right now, Staples one-subject notebooks are just 35 cents each. Plus, select backpacks are 50% off. Backpack offer ends 8/6. Notebook offer ends 8/27. Limit 30. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples.
It can often be difficult for parents to comfort children who are in pain and not feeling well. We asked Dr. Jody Thomas, founder and CEO of the Meg Foundation for Pain, about tips and strategies for parents to help comfort children dealing with chronic pain.
When we have kids with chronic pain, there's the biological piece, but there's the psychological piece. And that is not to say that a kid is crazy or that it's a parent's fault in any way. It's simply the way it works. And when it comes to chronic pain, understanding that is huge because we need to really deal with stress, ongoing stress, any psychological issues, anxiety. But dealing with chronic pain will be dealing with the psychological aspects and also the social aspects. And that is that the way people around you respond to your pain is absolutely a major impact on how you experience it.
To find COVID-19 vaccines and boosters near you, check out vaccines.gov.
Every search you make, every click you take, they'll be watching you.
Stop companies like Google from watching you by downloading the DuckDuckGo app today. Comprehensive privacy with the push of a button. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Everyone's heard about the housing market and this being the best time to sell a house in years. But the same thing applies to cars. Whether you're looking to buy a car, trade in, or sell that car in the driveway collecting dust, Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville wants to buy your car. They have 2 on-site managers that work with Kelly Blue Book to give you top dollar for your vehicle. You can even have your car appraised instantly at AndersonNissan.com. Stop in and visit them today at 629 Brevard Road in Asheville or call them at 828-365-1663.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
At Ingles, we're all in for summer. Whether you're hitting the trails, hitting the water, or hitting the golf ball, we have everything you need for the perfect picnic, the greatest grill out, and the best beach vacation. We know that the mountains are calling, the open road awaits, and that pool party is ready to rock. So head on over to Ingles and stock up on all the goodies to get you through your summer of freedom. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
The Sportsocracy.
Let's open up the whole can and kick ass and kill them all. Let the paramedics sort them out.
All right, the daily draft continues here in the Sportsocracy. Today's daily draft brought to you by the AFC East. As we got the Buffalo Bills, the New England Patriots, the Miami Dolphins, and there's another team in that division that it's just not coming. Oh, yeah, the New York Jets.
Jets, Jets.
We've started out the daily draft with Josh Allen, the number 1 overall pick by me. I get the advantage at quarterback, and then Jeremy went wisely back-to-back at wide receiver, taking the top 2 wide receivers in the division of Stephon Diggs and Tyreek Hill. Then I go Jalen Waddle and Breece Hall, taking the baby Jet away from the Jets fan. And then he followed that up with Damian Harris as his number 1 running back.
And then if you know me at all, you know there's a player. There's a player in this division that I believe it's about to be just an absolute breakout year for.
Okay.
I feel like my 3rd receiver is going to be equitable to your 1. So I'm taking the future MVP himself, Gabriel Davis.
Wow. I mean, you are just so drunk on that 1 4-touchdown game he had in the playoffs.
But see, that's the thing. I'm not. You know what I'm drunk on?
What's that?
The fact that I knew he was this good 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I have always liked him.
You have.
And now there is no Emmanuel Sanders. There is no Cole Beasley. There is nobody to impede him from being the number 2 target in this offense with the 2022 NFL MVP, Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm. Nice. All right.
So now you can pick between the sludge of the running backs because they're all sludge.
Sludge of the running backs, or I don't know. I mean, there is a lot of deeper talent at wide receiver in this division.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know. I mean, what can you count on at the running back position in this division? This, like I said when I picked Breece Hall, every position battle in this division is just muddled. You've got
to me, there's 2 that are. I think Buffalo is. I think Miami is. Miami is going to be a straight committee.
Oh, yeah.
And look, if anybody got hurt or if anybody distances themselves, okay.
I think it'll be way worse than it ever was in San Francisco.
I would agree. Because I think they have 3 that are better than any 3 San Francisco ever had.
Mm-hmm.
I like them all. But I don't trust any of them very much.
No. I mean, this becomes more frustrating than New England ever was. Maybe
I would agree with that.
No, maybe not than ever was. But
I would probably agree with that.
But it's close.
I could see a path where Miami does not have a running back all year that has more than 14 carries.
Okay. Well,
I can say the same thing about Buffalo, by the way.
I'm going to go with the wide receiver position here again. and I may be kicking myself later for this, but I'm going to take another jet, and I'm taking Elijah Moore. He was really good for me in fantasy football last year, late in the season at least. I feel like there's already that rapport there with Zach Wilson.
There is. He's a very talented player.
Whatever the rookie Garrett Wilson is going to add to this game, which I believe it's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. I look at your team and I go, this is the Detroit Lions of the AFC.
Oh, I would agree with that. I think this offense is going to be really, really good.
So I'm going to go Elijah Moore.
And
then Chase Edmonds from the Miami Dolphins.
If I had to take one, that would be the one that I would lean
I just look at him. Look, those of you who have been with us for a long time, you might remember last year, the year before last, and I think the year before that, I have been predicting a Chase Edmonds breakout fantasy season for 3 years in a row. And now that he's with Mike McDaniel in Miami, I get Raheem Mostert's there. I get that they also brought in Sony Michel, and I just feel like maybe this is it. Maybe this is finally the breakout that I've been wanting. And I feel like he's the only running back left in the division that I can trust to get some major tote.
Well, and he got away from the disaster that is Cliff Kingsbury, who just hated him for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't fault you there.
All right.
Now I think I'm going to do things that are either going to make you angry or shock you.
Okay.
I still need a quarterback and a tight end.
Yes.
I feel like there are 2-ish tight ends in this division that are vaguely the same guy.
Agreed.
And I feel like there are 3 quarterbacks that are vaguely the same guy. There's one big difference. One of them I'm not positive starts every game for his team because if things go sideways, there is the best backup quarterback in the NFL. That is Tua Tagovailoa.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll not be taking him. I don't feel like there is an upside with Mac Jones.
We all know where this is going.
So we're going Mob Slayer Zach Wilson.
Oh, we all knew that was coming.
You're going to tell me I'm a homer. You're going to tell me I'm out of my mind. There is a possibility that Zach Wilson ends this season as QB1. There is a possibility of it.
I would say it's a slight possibility, but
do you know who the 12th quarterback in fantasy football was last year?
No, I do not.
It was Russell Wilson.
Okay.
He averaged 17.5 points per game. Zach Wilson, who had nothing, a god-awful offensive line, no weapons, really
Elijah.
not much to speak of.
Except for Elijah Moore.
We only had him for 10 games.
That's true.
And of those 10 games that Elijah Moore played, Zach Wilson didn't play 3 of them.
Very good point.
He averaged 12.5 with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And now I look around and go, now I have all the things. I have all the toys to play with.
You do. You have running backs, you have an offensive line, and you got 3 really good wide receivers.
I will have Zach Wilson in a lot of places. A lot. Especially if I'm playing in 2 quarterbacks. That is because everybody avoids him. They don't know what he is. He runs more than you think. And I think there is an upside to him that I don't see Tua Tagovailoa doing that. Plus, there is an inherent risk of there is nothing Zach Wilson can do that this is not his job. There are things that Tua can do. And I routinely see people take Tua ahead of him, and I just kind of laugh to myself. Mac Jones, same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the upside. Safer? Absolutely. But you don't have the upside.
No. Not for fantasy, especially.
Now the question is, which of the tight ends do I take? Because there are 2 that in terms of ranking, I have them right beside each other.
Mm-hmm.
And there is only one tiebreaker. I don't actually think that what scored a lot of points for Dawson Knox last year, I don't think it's replicable. Because he scored a ton of touchdowns. Those tend to be cyclical. So I'm going to go Mike Gesicki. I know that hands you Dawson Knox. I don't really care. I think it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other.
Well, I don't really have a problem taking the leftovers.
You shouldn't.
In this scenario, but we all know I'm higher on the Mike Gesicki than you are, so yes, that kind of irritates me that you didn't go with Dawson Knox, because every time I bring up Mike Gesicki, you go, oh, but Dawson Knox. So that will round out the rosters for the both of us. I will take Dawson Knox with my final pick, and now it is UDFA time.
I'm really curious to see if we say the same name here.
This is the first one where I thought there might be a chance that we do say the same name here, and if that does happen, then neither of us gets him. So
I feel like if you get the guy I'm going to say, I feel like you win.
Okay.
So I will rest on my laurels knowing either I'm going to have him or neither of us are going to have him.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Devontae Parker.
Oh, that was not the name I was going to say. You threw me off on that one. All right. I mean,
you were about to say Garrett Wilson.
I was about to say Garrett Wilson, and you threw me off when a G didn't come out of your mouth. So, all right. I get Garrett Wilson. You get Devontae Parker.
And I know this is going to sound weird, and one of our resident New England Patriots fans has been waiting for me to just crush this team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do that. I don't think there's a ton of high upside, but I will say this, and I'm going to say this the exact same way that it was said to me over the weekend. Devontae Parker is what Bill Belichick thought he was getting in N'Keal Harry, and he's going to use it.
Okay.
One thing I've learned in the years we've been doing this, when I talk to people that are around training camps, if I hear the same name from everybody, that tells me something. That tells me that there is a focal point of this is the guy. And I had a feeling you weren't going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He is the one receiver in this entire division, more than Tyreek Hill, more than Stephon Diggs, that I will bet you anything you want. He leads this team in receptions. He leads this team in touchdowns. He is the safest in this division to do both of those things.
Okay. It's not off the wall.
But New England is waxing poetic
about him. He's the best
him.
talent they have.
You would legitimately think he had invented the wheel because they're watching that big body in the little bit of camp that we've seen and the great catch radius and all you got to do is get the ball in the vicinity and he'll go get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at that going, it's widely known that I don't love Mac Jones. I think he is Colt McCoy on steroids. That is what I've called him since the minute he walked in this league. However, he's very safe. He's not going to turn the ball over a lot. And the one thing that I felt like he really did not have last year was I get to the 12-yard line. It is 3rd and goal, and I don't know what to do. Now I think you have a guy that one-on-one can beat you, and you can't shield coverage to him because Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith are enough to keep those safeties away. So I'm going to have Devontae Parker on islands, one-on-one with corners, and I think he's more difficult to defend than he is given credit for.
Okay.
Look,
right.
Devontae Parker has hurt me more than any fantasy football player ever.
Absolutely.
And you know what? I'm going to let him do it again.
I'm going to let him do it again.
And I'm not sure I don't feel better about it this time than I ever have before.
I'm just going to keep falling for it. There's no doubt that Devontae Parker immediately comes in, and he is the go-to option in that offense.
He is a player that I am getting in fantasy drafts. I mean, last pick.
Yeah.
The last pick I make, I'm getting Devontae Parker. Mm-hmm. And I'm shocked at some of those. We're going to have fantasy content coming out this week. Some of it's going to be late round guys that I'm just dumbfounded you can steal for nothing. Some strategy things. Look for those on the YouTube channel at the Sportsocracy.
All right, that wraps it up. The AFC East draft. Jeremy ends with Zach Wilson, Damian Harris, Stephon Diggs, Mike Gesicki, Tyreek Hill, Gabriel Davis, and Devontae Parker. To my Josh Allen, Breece Hall, Jalen Waddle, Dawson Knox, Elijah Moore, Chase Edmonds, and Garrett Wilson. We'll have it up on social media after the show is over. You can vote there. Tomorrow we'll have the poll up as well to decide who gets the number 1 pick in tomorrow's daily draft. When we come back from the break, it'll time to, hear the most important message we give you each and every day.
Don't do crimes!
And we'll talk about the future of college football and how it's being perceived by many within the sport.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, we're tracking a pretty good area of rainfall, thunderstorms in from the west coming across the mountains, and scattered thunderstorms early tonight. Some with heavy downpours. 66 degrees, our low tonight. Then less storm coverage for us Tuesday and Wednesday. High temps in the mid and upper 80s. Thunderstorms return to the forecast late week, Thursday, Friday, and for the weekend, first weekend of August, scattered storms likely. Temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Scott Lariamore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Got a little bit of some extra congestion now from Hendersonville towards Long Shoals. About a 10-minute drive here. Nothing too out of the ordinary. The good news, no accidents to tell you about. Still some slow traffic in Asheville now on the westbound side of 26 in between Long Shoals Road and 191. And we still have that road construction on 40 in both directions between 25 and Dunsmore Avenue. Tom Miner with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Dog days of summer got your business needing help? Check out Indeed, an all-in-one hiring solution that makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know audio memory lasts 6 times longer than visual memory? That's why businesses advertise with iHeartMedia, the #1 audio company in the country. Reach consumers with radio, podcasting, streaming, and more. Make your business a household name and visit iHeartAdvertising.com or call 844-BUY-RADIO. Grow your reach, grow your business. Call iHeartMedia today. Visit iHeartAdvertising.com or call 844-BUY-RADIO.
I'm Hannah Waddingham, and this is Hustle Rule, an audio docuseries featuring the untold stories of women soccer players around the world. From the streets of Santos, Brazil, to a truck smuggling Afghan refugees bumping along a road in rural Denmark. These are the stories of players willing to risk everything for the game they love. Listen to Hustle Rule on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Won't stop for nobody.
When I finally drove the old car into the grave, I knew there was only one place I was going to go. Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville, home of the family plan. And yes, they treat you like family. I went in, told them what I was looking for, told them my budget, and in no time, I was signing the paperwork on my certified pre-owned vehicle. They have the area's largest selection on quality pre-owned vehicles and certified Nissans. They go through a 167-point inspection, so you know it's not going to let you down. They gave me the Carfax report, so I know the history of my vehicle. And the Fred Anderson family plan gives me things like oil changes and car washes and loaner cars if I have to have major work done on the car in the future. For me, buying a car has always been an intimidating thought. But the folks at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville made it super easy. Don't be like me. Don't wait till the last minute to get a deal done. Go to AndersonNissan.com or stop by the showroom at 629 Brevard Road. And don't forget to mention we sent you from the Sportsocracy and get a $250 bonus on your trade-in at Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
All right, it's that time in the Sportsocracy each and every day where we give you the most important message of the day. Don't do crimes. Just don't do them. And my story today comes to us from the state of New Hampshire, where someone was stopped speeding on I-93. His name, Alejandro Zapata Rebello, 30 years old from Danbury, Connecticut, and he was behind the wheel of an orange sports car that sped past a New Hampshire state trooper in the early stages of the afternoon, and there was no chance that the state trooper was keeping up with this guy. However, he did get caught a short time later because he ran into traffic. That's right. Traffic is the #1 enemy of all speeders, especially when you're going 161 miles per hour. This guy was driving past the state trooper at 161. It's more than twice the speed limit of 70 miles per hour on this here road. And yes, they all they could do was say, hey, we saw an orange car. We don't know what it was, because 161 miles an hour, if you've never gone that fast, it's pretty fast. It was a 2021 Chevy Corvette, and now he has been charged. The problem that I have with this scenario is what he's been charged with. He was arrested and charged with 2 counts of reckless driving and 1 count of disobeying an officer. None of that is going to see, 1, his license taken away, or 2, his car taken away. I don't know. Call me old man yelling at the clouds, but you get caught doing 161 miles an hour, you ain't never driving again.
No.
There's no reason. There's no reason you should ever be driving that fast on a public roadway. Reckless driving is all this guy got. Don't do crimes, but if the penalty's that light, maybe crimes are necessary. I don't know.
This is one of the most bizarre stories I have ever told in this segment. This comes from Dallas, Texas. Officers responded late Saturday morning to reports of a shooting at a residence in the city. Officers found a large amount of blood and a blood trail, but the apartment was empty. While they were responding to this, they get a call from a nearby hospital that a man and a woman with gunshot wounds have been found in a vehicle outside the hospital. The woman was shot in the neck. The man had a gunshot wound in his leg. As they went through the course of this, they determined that the shooter was 26-year-old Byron Redmond, who was the male victim with a bullet wound in his leg. But there was only 1 bullet. They found no shell casings at the seat. They found nothing.
Huh.
Well, Mr. Redmond passed away of his injuries. And they figured out that he was the shooter. So he shot the unidentified woman in the neck. Through and through, bullet hits the wall, ricochets off the wall, goes through his leg, and kills him.
Oh.
I don't actually know what to say about that other than
karma.
I wasn't going to say that, but I thought it.
That's karma.
That is dumbfounding to me.
Wow.
The sheer metrics of this, it actually severed his femoral artery.
Mm-hmm. And he bled to death. Don't do crimes. Wow. Shoots her
Unbelievable
in the
story.
neck.
There was a diagram of exactly how that would have to happen. It's literally the same % chance that you win the Powerball.
Yeah.
Because everything has to be at the perfect angle, and it has to hit you in the perfect spot. And it did.
And it did. Wow.
Don't do crimes.
Yeah. Unbelievable. College football, the landscape is a-changing. We all know this with the NIL and the super conference era upon us. So ESPN did what ESPN does.
They did a survey.
They reached out to 200 people within college football, whether it be coaches, players, administrators. They had over 200 respond to the survey. And the results, I don't know, could be surprising, could not. Wasn't too surprising to me when they found that nearly 80% of the respondents believe that schools, as I have predicted, Jeremy, for a long time, will be paying players directly within the next decade.
I mean, they loosely are doing that right now.
Agreed.
I mean, you're just doing it with an intermediary right now.
Right. Now you're doing it with your consortium of boosters.
Now, and at this point, it's getting to the point where student-athlete has always been a joke.
Of course.
It's more of a joke now than it's ever been before. And I think back to, I believe it was 2 years ago, when Super Slam superstar Pat McAfee said the high-end schools are going to break away from the NCAA and start their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I have never been more convinced of that than I am right now. Never.
No. Once you went down this path of you can capitalize on name, image, and likeness, as Jeremy predicted, I'll give you your flowers on this one, it opens the door to all of the boosters going, okay, let's see how much money we can give them. Now, I had originally thought that there would be some controls on that the NCAA would come out and say, you know what, we can have these, but you can't be connected to the school if you give these deals to the players.
And I'm going to ask the same question now that I asked when you said that the first time. How are you going to stop it? Once you open the toothpaste tube, but you can't.
Oh,
you can't. No, you can't. It's too easy to hide money. Look, the mafia has gotten away with this for many years because there are a lot of ways to hide money, where it comes from and where it ends up. And if you don't think that's happening right now, I have a bridge to sell you.
It's also not too hard to go down the path of let's just use Papa Phil as the go-between here. Nike's given $1 million a year to this kid at Oregon. Clearly that money came from a booster.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and there is nothing that precludes that. Nothing.
No, but there could have been. If the NCAA had said we're going to be watching this closely, instead of doing it after the fact, like they tried to do. Remember that report?
And it would have done absolutely nothing.
Really?
Because there's no way you can legislate it.
Absolutely. Kid's ineligible. Done.
Okay, so then Nike can't give NIL money. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. If you
kids
remember,
at Oregon, as long as he's a booster.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's the biggest apparel brand in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're going to block them off because he went to Oregon. Okay, so Under Armour can't give money to...
Or he can't give money to the program anymore.
You're just not going to be able to do that. You fall into antitrust problems.
Mm-hmm.
There are all kinds of issues with that. But I said that from the jump.
Yep.
None of it makes any sense. And then there's the net route of the NCAA is the just absolute Barney Fife, one bullet that you have to keep in your front pocket of enforcing this. You have no fear. What are you going to do to me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, name me the last school that was under even a modicum of NCAA issues. Miami had recruits on boats from a booster doing some nefarious things. Let's just say that.
Uh-huh.
What it cost them? They missing bowl games because of that? No. Oh, Nevin Shapiro went to jail. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like that got Nevin Shapiro. It didn't do anything to Miami.
Right.
That's where you're at. And now you are a completely worthless entity. And everybody knows it.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the thing I gleaned from that survey is the people in this sport have even less faith in the NCAA than I do.
Of course.
Because now it almost seems like they're going, well, I'm going to just keep pushing the envelope until you even try to push back on me.
Mm-hmm.
Because now they're not even doing that.
70% or 75% of respondents said that they believe that it will be some kind of a professional model in very short order. And they also believe that, the NCAA is irrelevant.
It is relevant. It's been relevant.
And that the larger schools and the ones playing this game will be breaking away.
Of course they will.
Mm-hmm.
And the more you hear the commissioner of the Pac-12, whose name I can't remember off the top of my head, he said something over the weekend of, well, USC and UCLA are regretting their move to the Big Ten. It's very obvious by the things that they're... No, they're not. No, they're not.
No.
There's a report out now that USC's AD is the one that blocked the Pac-12 from expanding a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? Because you know you're not going to be here for long.
Right.
I read that and went, okay, so USC has thought about this for over a year.
Mm-hmm.
This was not just hey, the Big Ten's got a big media deal. We're on a sinking ship, and we need a life raft.
Right, if this hasn't been on your radar for a while, at least since the NIL stuff became known, then you're behind the 8 ball. And dare I say it, I think it's every ACC school. All of the ACC schools are just, apparently playing like this doesn't exist.
Well, I mean, there's not a whole lot they can do. Unless you have an invite to the SEC or to the Big Ten, there's nothing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go bankrupt. You'll be in the same position that UCLA's in. UCLA's athletic department is over $100 million in debt. That's a bad sign.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I'm going to double up on this from what I said on Friday. Gavin Newsom, your athletic department is $100 million in debt. Stop talking about how smart you are.
Right. This survey confirmed one thing, though, that those within college football know that this is a whole different world. This is a whole different world, and it's going to get worse. 98% of the respondents said this movement ain't over.
Oh, it's not over.
Which the 2% that said, yeah, it's over.
Those people are idiots.
Y'all are crazy.
They're idiots. I'll be honest with you. I won't be shocked if we have a slew more teams that announce what they're going to do before this season kicks off at the end of the month. We're, 23 days away from the week 0 games?
Mm-hmm.
I won't be shocked if you hear several other heavy hitters that make their intentions known.
Mm-hmm. One of the weirdest numbers out of all of this, though, for me, was only 29% of respondents said that they believe that the FBS teams will be breaking away from the FCS teams. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Oh, well, that's probably a slew of them that are attached to either low-level FBS schools or to the FCS.
Maybe they are, and maybe they're
that's just wishful thinking.
Right. It's wishful thinking to think that the Power 5 schools, who still can be relevant at the top level, are not going to just say, sorry, to the FCS program.
I'm going to make a comparison here. We've already watched this model of how this is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
When you have money that you can just set on fire, you can do all kinds of things. And tradition is cute and tradition is wonderful. But when you can't block it, you're disarmed. You know what model follows that exactly? Live Golf. They had all the money in the world, and we will just throw things. You're not worth that.
Mm-hmm.
We know that.
Mm-hmm.
UCLA is not worth being in the Big Ten. They're not. But when you have USC and UCLA, you've completely cornered the Los Angeles market, which on the West Coast is one of 2 that you even care about.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't care. We'll take UCLA. We'll throw the money at UCLA. We'll split that piece of the pie off. Doesn't matter. But eventually there's going to come a time where the creme de la creme are going to go, why are we keeping up Akron? They're completely irrelevant to us. And then you break away. And I will say, Pat McAfee said this early on. As soon as he said it, I went, that kind of makes sense. And everything that has happened since has steered in that direction.
You're in the Sportsocracy here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. And, of course, heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. When we take a break, or when we come back from the break, Jeremy's going to be mad.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Got a little bit of some extra congestion now from Hendersonville towards Long Shoals. About a 10-minute drive here. Nothing too out of the ordinary. The good news, no accidents to tell you about. Still some slow traffic in Asheville now on the westbound side of 26 in between Long Shoals Road and 191. And we still have that road construction on 40 in both directions between 25 and Dunsmore Avenue. Tom Miner with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Are you a safe driver? Are you looking to save money? With DriveWise from Allstate, the safer you drive, the more you can save. At Allstate, better protection costs a whole lot less. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote today.
Venture X from Capital One is the travel card for people always asking,
where next?
You earn 10x miles on hotels and rental cars, and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel, and 2x miles on everything else you buy with Venture X. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges. The Venture X card from Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I'm Hannah Waddingham, and this is Hustle Rule, an audio docuseries featuring the untold stories of women soccer players around the world. From the streets of Santos, Brazil, to a truck smuggling Afghan refugees bumping along a road in rural Denmark. These are the stories of players willing to risk everything for the game they love. Listen to Hustle Rule on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Won't stop for nobody.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Marshall with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
There's a lot of talk about heroes these days.
Hey, buddy, you want to go fishing?
The folks in the funny outfits with superpowers and spandex.
All right, buddy, let me help you.
But at Ingles, we know that a lot of our heroes
Now you look like a pro.
are a little closer to home. They're the ones who give us what we need for those everyday adventures. That's why we look up to the ones who look out for us.
Don't forget your fish food. Catch a big one.
Ingles,
See you later, Dad.
all the ingredients for family.
Dirty Perky shark back flat. I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore. Shark back flat.
Let the hate flow through you.
Operationally, the NFL is king. I know that it is taking some bad PR right now because some people are upset about the duration of Deshaun Watson's suspension and on and on and on. I've heard a slew of people say this is going to happen, that's going to happen. What has happened was, I promise you, agreed to behind closed doors. Weird segue, but I'm watching another league that can't seem to figure out, not only is this obvious, you built it into your schedule. The NBA's in its dead period. We don't hear a lot of NBA news in this time because this is the NFL's time. But they put out two very quiet stories over the weekend that just make my head hurt. The NBA is looking into tampering with the New York signing of Jalen Brunson and the Philadelphia 76ers' diminished contract with James Harden. No kidding. You have $100 million deals that are agreed to 4 minutes after your free agency starts. And you really think that they just called and said, $114 million, you take that and we're done. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard out loud. Mm-hmm. And for you to put it out there, if you want to take away second-round picks, who cares? NBA teams treat second-round picks like they're cups at a frat party. It's not exactly like it matters. But to put this out and be so disingenuous about it is so unbelievably, unequivocally stupid that I can't get past it. Mm-hmm. I'm mad.
Jalen Brunson, of course.
Oh, no kidding. You mean that deal that we talked about for 4 months before it happened?
Right.
Of course there was tampering.
And you hired his dad as the coach, or as one of the assistant coaches.
And legally, there's nothing wrong with that. The dad can say anything to him he wants to. But apparently the fact that the dad and Leon Rose are friends and he actually represented him is a problem because Leon Rose is not allowed to talk to him. Mm-hmm. It's so stupid.
As we close down the show for this Monday afternoon, I feel like we would be doing a disservice if we did not tip the cap to the first of the GOATs. The first of the GOATs passed away over the weekend. Boston Celtics great Bill Russell, 11-time NBA champion, passed away at the age of 88. There's no – look, we can get into all the GOAT talk of is it Michael, is it LeBron, is it so-and-so. Can we just agree that every era of the NBA has their own GOATs?
Oh, absolutely.
We have our own greatest of all times for every era of the NBA, and there's no doubt that Bill Russell was the guy during his time. But then he gave way to Wilt, and Wilt gave way to Kareem, and Kareem gave way to Michael, and Michael gave way to LeBron. We don't have to get marred in all of this who's the greatest if he played in this generation and they played. We'll never settle those debates. But a guy who was dominant From the day he stepped on the floor at Madison Square Garden until the day he became the coach and retired as coach and player of a championship-winning team, we can all be on the same page in saying Bill Russell was one of the GOATs of the NBA.
Look, there are not many things you can agree about, but in terms of Bill Russell winning 11 titles, throwing up the stat, there's really no metric that you can look at that he's not viewed that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw somebody over yesterday in the news of this coming out. He was your favorite player's favorite player. And I think that's probably the most apt way to describe it.
There you go. Passed away at the age of 88, R.I.P. to the first of the GOATs, Bill Russell. And, you know, his playing career was aside from everything else that he did as a human being for the NBA and the brand throughout the years. We will be back with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. Have a great evening, everybody, and we will see you then.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Well, we're tracking a pretty good area of rainfall, thunderstorms in from the west coming across the mountains, and scattered thunderstorms early tonight. Some with heavy downpours. 66 degrees, our low tonight, then less storm coverage for us Tuesday and Wednesday. High temps in the mid and upper 80s. Thunderstorms return to the forecast late week, Thursday, Friday, and for the weekend, first weekend of August, scattered storms likely, temps in the mid and upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Well, we got a little bit of traffic this go around, including an accident on the eastbound side of 26 in between New Airport Road and Asheville Highway. Watch for a little bit of some delay here. Westbound side of 26, still a little slow now between Long Shoals Road and 191. Some good news, though. Traffic moving along very nicely now on 240 westbound from Charlotte Street to Montford Avenue. Tom Miter with Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has everything you need for school at prices that won't hold you back. Right now, Crayola 24-count crayons and 4-ounce Elmer's glue are just 50 cents each. Plus 1-inch binders are only $1.99. In-store only. Offer ends 8/26, limit 30. Don't send your kids back to school. Send them forward at Staples.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling? Because I love football.